Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball.
Tuesday, May 19th at 10:30 a.m., it's morning baseball. Wednesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m., have a pawsome time at Bark in the Park. Thursday, May 21st at 6:30, it's Pride Night with $5 Bud or Bud Light draft beer. Individual game tickets start at just $12.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Real nice day, and then we're screwed, basically. I don't think Friday it rains. I think Friday, low 60s with a combination of sun and clouds. Not a terrible day for the president's trip to see Mike Lawler, who will join me today up in Rockland County. I look forward to seeing President Trump on Friday myself. But then the weekend is a washout. Looks terrible Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for Memorial Day, but comeback is the story today. The Knickerbockers doing it last night. And I would say that the state of Kentucky is now coming back after years and years of these awful backstabbing, basically Democrat, Republican congressmen, all losers last night. Man, that was great. Thomas Massie, who even last night, after suffering a really embarrassing loss, and if you listen to me yesterday, all day I was praying for a Tom Massie loss. What a jerk-off. And even yesterday, made a joke about Israel. Yeah, that's funny, Tom. You just lost by 10 points, a race you were supposed to win, and you're out. You can talk all you want about running again and all these lofty dreams of returning to politics. You're done. Your best chance, really, from Massie and Collins and Murkowski and Tillis and all these losers, just run as a Democrat. You're not one of us anymore. You don't even try. I mean, here you are. You just suffered a really embarrassing and humiliating defeat because of your rhetoric, because of your anti-Israel, anti-Jew rhetoric, because you take shots at Trump at every chance and you make a joke about Tel Aviv. I mean, how stupid are you? Let's be honest, Tom Massie. How dumb are you? Make a joke about Tel Aviv. So, Knicks, the amazing comeback. Kentucky is on the comeback. But I do want to start with the Knicks down by 22 with just under 8 minutes to play. And when you combine, like Mike Breen said, who joined us just yesterday, the Hall of Fame voice of the Knicks, when you combine the last 7 minutes of regulation and the 5 minutes of overtime where Cleveland scored just 3 points, the Knicks outscored Cleveland 44-11. You know, I was on the shuttle yesterday going home after getting off the ferry, Lewis, as you know, in Rockaway. And my boy Ray was driving me home, and he's got WFAN on inside that shuttle. And I was listening to my good buddy Craig Carton. He will not join me today, but the WFAN legend and now weekly Sid Rosenberg contributor Joe Benigno will join me coming up in about 45 minutes. Great day for Joe B. And Carton was going on and on with his teammate there, Chris Mack, that the Knicks were going to sweep. Cleveland will be lucky to win one game. So I sent Craig a text. I go, that was some really good, entertaining radio, but no shot. They're not sweeping Cleveland. And here they were, down 22 in the fourth quarter. And I was about to text Craig when I came to the realization that, hey, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm rooting for the Knicks to sweep them. But it just seems so crazy that Craig would suggest they were going to sweep Cleveland, even after Mike Breen said on this show yesterday he expects it to be a very competitive series. And the Knicks come back and win. And they've now won 8 straight playoff games. And if you can't win last night, that game on the road, Cleveland, I don't know when you're going to win. But, look, it ain't over yet. It's one game. But that was just incredible. The Garden was so electric, seeing all the former Knicks players down there courtside, Patrick Ewing and Latrell Sprewell. There was a bunch of them there last night. Shumpert, Bernard, Carmelo, just packed with all these former Knicks players going nuts every time the Knicks hit a big shot down the stretch. And, of course, they hit 4 huge threes down the stretch. Brunson with a big one. You had the game-tying 3 by, of all people, Shamet, who has really given Mike Brown some very, very valuable minutes. He was a guy that was pretty much buried with Tom Thibodeau, but Brown has played a lot of these guys. And Landry Shamet came up big. And the guy you really got to talk about during these whole playoffs Well, a lot of Knicks fans were really down on when you consider the Knicks had to give up five draft choices to get this guy from Brooklyn, is Mikal Bridges. He has really paid dividends. 2 huge threes down the stretch last night. Lockdown defense, big games offensively against the Hawks and 76ers. So Mikal Bridges, for all the folks that are worried about all the potential draft choices that won't be here, certainly paying dividends right now. And this was just one of the great wins you'll ever see. Now, to be honest, I did not see most of the game. I got home just in time to see the epic comeback. I was at this beautiful, beautiful club, Sewanee, I think it's called, in Hewlett, at the Terrett Cohen dinner last night with Shawnee Heikind and her amazing husband, Dove Heikind, and a cast of thousands. My man, Joe Frager, sat next to me last night, Holocaust survivor Jerry Worski, and his lovely wife, Susan, a couple of young guys that fought with us, the IDF soldiers back from Israel, some real heroes. And my friend John Burkham, he was out there with his daughter. He's part of the Holocaust Council that President Trump appointed me to, and Liz Pipko and Siggy Flicker and many others. Gabe Boxer was there last night, my dear friend, the kosher guru. If I forget somebody's name, don't get mad at me, okay? Take it easy. Calm down. It's a lot of people, and they love me. I walked in. I could have been Trump. It's the same exact reception. Men, women, they go nuts. It's surreal to me. It really is. And I've seen it now a couple times the last couple of days between the hockey game at the UBS Arena on Sunday, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, at this beautiful event last night. You know, I could have gone to the city last night for that big GOP event. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, of course, and Bruce Blakeman spoke last night. They had a video of Bruce at the Terrett Cohen dinner. He's there every year. He's been there with me every year. But he elected, obviously, to go to this GOP event because he's running for governor. I heard he was great. But I turned it down because I made a commitment to be there for the Heikins and that beautiful community in Hewlett, Long Island, and it was great. Lovely, lovely night. Made it home just in time to see the Knickerbockers forge this epic comeback. And don't look now, but the number's down to 7. 7 what? What number? When I say the number is down to 7, Noam Layden. What is that?
Come on, Noam.
Come on, Noam. What am I talking about?
7 days.
Oh.
7.
Mm-hmm.
No. Am I right about that?
No, not even close. Not even close.
All right.
7. Why would the number be 7?
Well, it's lucky 7. Maybe you're going to play.
Lucky 7. That's a big lucky number. That's right. You really have no idea?
Think of the games, Noam. Think of how many games left.
Were you talking about the Knicks? I don't know.
Yes.
No, we're talking about the Brooklyn Nets.
What? A 7,
Okay,
yeah. I
you
mean,
don't
but
have
they
to
only
be
have to win
mean.
4. It's best of 7.
7 wins until they win the championship, right? Isn't that
7
what it is?
more.
Oh, I got you.
All they need is 7 more
Well,
games
not
to win.
all. That's a lot. Not all when you're taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers and either San Antonio or Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
7 is still a lot. But yes, Kevin Drosch, and Lou, of course, knew the answer. 7 more wins, and the Knicks can celebrate their first NBA championship since 1973.
Yeah, see, I like to take it like a alcoholic.
One day at a time.
Yes, one day at a time.
I
don't
love
like to
that.
look 6 games
Listen, I love it.
Nice.
You're right. I mean, consider the fact we haven't been to the NBA Finals since 1999, 27 years. The Patrick Ewing loss to San Antonio, right? Over 30 years since Ewing and the guys under Pat Riley lost to the Rockets. You're right. One day at a time. Before we start worrying about the Spurs or the Thunder, let's complete this series. But right now, with 8 straight wins and that epic comeback last night, the confidence level for the Knicks fan, I have to think, is at an all-time high. All-time high.
Should be.
Should be, right?
Well, a win like that last night when Cleveland had to know, we've got it. This is the game we're stealing. We're up over 20 points, and it was 7 minutes to go. I saw a shot, and he is a great player. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is great. But I saw a shot after the game, him walking down the tunnel, and it was deflating for them.
Yeah, it was like Freddie Podtek sitting in the dugout for the Kansas City Royals after the Yankees beat him in the play. He was still sitting there like a half hour later, just sitting in the dugout. That was Donovan Mitchell's face making his way to the Cavalier locker room last night. Good old Freddie Podtek.
He is the little pepper pot that
Yes,
gets
that's
the
right.
Kansas City Royals going. George Brett is, of course, the fire
Very
of
good.
the Royals, but Freddie Patek will
Yes.
get them going. That's
Yeah, that vision of him just sitting there in the dugout.
Wow.
Again, like 30 minutes after the game was over, looking like, what the hell just happened here? That was Donovan. So let's play this again.
I'm
because-
going to remember another one. Dennis Potvin
Yeah.
against the boards after the Rangers eliminated the Islanders in 1979.
Very good.
He was
Very good.
And I think it was, who was it? Bill? Was it Bill? Not Bill Chadwick. The Gordon.
Oh,
who was doing
Jim
the-
Gordon. Jim Gordon. Yeah.
Oh, look at Dennis Potvin.
Yeah.
He looked like
Well,
he could never play again.
We know what happened there. The Rangers, with John Davidson in the nets, went out to take on the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Finals that year and lost. And then Denny Potvin had the last laugh because after that, after 79, in the next 6 years, the Islanders won four Stanley Cups. So
last
Denny,
professional team to win 4 in a row.
no, they were
by
amazing.
the way.
Denny's a good guy. I got to know Denny very, very well
Yeah, he
because
is nice.
he did all the games for the Florida Panthers. So I got very close. This is even before Vinny Viola bought the club. This is when the Yormark guys ran that club, and Denny Potvin did the games. He still does. I know he's gone now, but they had Steve Goldstein. He's still there. Syracuse kid, great guy. Randy Moeller. He played for the Rangers. He's still there. So Denny and I got pretty close, and he did get the last laugh. Let's go back last night one more time. A lot of the stuff you heard in the open, we're going to replay in this first segment, but I can't get enough of Mike Breen. Here is the Hall of Fame voice of the Knicks with the final seconds in this amazing comeback win for the Knicks in Game 1, Lewis, cut number 2. Is it stuck? Sometimes this thing gets stuck,
Yeah, freezes.
freezes up.
So
I mean, that's right at the point of, let's go. We're naked now. Let's go.
22. Everything was pointing to the Knicks were going to get him from Utah, and then the Cavs swooped in and made the deal as Brunson, the floater, gets it to go. But it's a 20-point lead for Cleveland.
To put that pressure back on the Cavaliers.
Brunson drives on Wade. Scoop layup. It's good. Beautiful shot from Brunson. Knicks have suddenly scored 9 in a row.
It's got tipping away. You know,
Jalen Brunson once again, and it's a 4-point Knick lead. Of history, both conference finals game 1 go to OT. And the fans dancing with joy. They have watched one of the greatest comebacks in NBA playoff history. Down 22 with 7.5 to go. Knicks take game 1 behind the brilliance of Jalen Brunson. Over the last 12 minutes, final 7 minutes of regulation and the 5 minutes of overtime, Knicks outscore the Cavs 44-11.
Hall of Fame
Let's
voice,
check in
Mike
with Lisa.
Breen, right there. Thank you. No, thanks, Lisa. But the reason why we spent about 20 minutes to start the show with the Knicks is there's nothing going right in this city. Every day, this is not hyperbole. This is not exaggeration. In fact, my good buddy Frank Carone just tweeted out something about me moments ago. Every day there is something written about me in this city. Yesterday you had Mediaite, a few other spots. But whether it's a local newspaper, you'll find me in the Post, in the News, in the Times, in the Journal. Some podcaster, they all hate me. Some blog that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't. Every day, you know this is true, Noam, I'm in the newspaper about, or some publication, about Mamdani. And I ripped this guy to shreds a couple nights ago and ripped the Jews. And it was part of my speech in Hewlett last night that whether it was 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many Satmar rabbis. I'm not calling out the whole Satmar community. Take it easy, guys. You guys get really annoying. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? But I am calling out some of you, okay? Niedermeyer, I guess is his name. I don't know. And this other loser, Moshe Indig, on Twitter just complimenting Mamdani at every opportunity, how great it was to be at Gracie Mansion. You're a disgrace. That's what you are. You're a disgrace. Remember, as I put on Twitter yesterday, his wife shares his the same opinions that he does. If you think that Mamdani feels differently than his wife, then you're somewhere between naive and stupid. Lou loves this and closer to the latter.
Bang!
They agree on everything. So he ran, and now he's the mayor, so he can't say it. He says enough, trust me, but he can't say it. But for his wife, this wretched, evil, vile woman, ugly on the inside and out, to like images of girls being raped and babies being murdered on October the 7th, tells you all need to know about this, Mayor. And you get these Jews, rabbis, showing up at Gracie Mansion for Jewish Heritage Month. So I took him to task on Twitter. I killed him. And that ended up again in a bunch of publications everywhere. Like, oh, look at Sid. Sid goes out of his way to pick on Mamdani or his own people. Is that me, Noam, going out of my own way?
No.
When you got Shavuot and you're celebrating at Gracie Mansion with a worldwide, well-known anti-Semite, is that Sid Rosenberg going out of his way?
No, in fact, I saw some of the pictures that he took with people who were at the party that the mayor did. And one of the was a group of 4 or 5 women who are part of an organization. They're Jewish, but they're a part of an organization that's anti-Zionist. So, of course, that's why they were welcome to this
Of
party.
course. Yeah. Of course. So, New York's a mess. The mayor is, these grocery stores. We did play a piece of our guy, John Katsimatidis. It was terrific yesterday with Maria Bartiromo. We played it. He said, it's not much. He's not going to make a big difference. If anything, it's going to hurt us because the financial projections to open these grocery stores, which everything's going to be free, that's not even true. Everything is not going to be free. Some of the items will be cheaper. Some, you ready for this? Some will be more expensive. How about that? And it ain't going to be cheap. It's not going to be $15 million to open 5. It's going to be $15 million apiece. It is double what the mayor promised they would spend to open these. Once again, he's a filthy liar. That's all he is, a filthy liar. And John kind of pointed that out yesterday. He did a good job, John. Very good job. So the tax situation here is miserable. People like Ken Griffin want to leave. Crime is still terrible. I know that Jessica Tisch is doing all she can, and the numbers may tell you it's down. That may be true. I love Jessica. I love the NYPD. They're doing the best they can. There's just not enough cops and too many crazy people running around this city. I speak to people, oh, Sid, you're nuts. I work in the city every day. It's great. It's beautiful. Really? I can't walk a block in this city without seeing some homeless junkie. They may not hurt anybody. They may not. But that is the quality of life that Eric Adams used to talk about. He failed in that. Jessica Tisch talks about that's the quality of life. Almost every day I see somebody urinating right in the open. I see people defecating by cars on Park Avenue. Don't tell me the city's great because there's 1 million people out today because it's 95 degrees. I love that. I live by Central Park. I actually live right by Riverside Park. I love all that. But the city is a mess. It's a mess. I'm not telling you anything new. Now, if you feel the need to say nice things about it because maybe you're selling real estate like Suzanne and Corey, or maybe you're a lawyer like Arthur Aidala, he talks about the city like it's beautiful. It's not. It's not. So when the Knicks have that type of effort last night, because everybody loves the Knicks, right? I can go to a Knick game. I can go to game 2, be in the same building as Spike Lee and not be angry. If I'm by Spike Lee anyplace else, I'm angry. Yankee Stadium, opening day, I was okay. Madison Square Garden, I'll be okay. Why? Because even with all the issues and all the jerk-off athletes that are now involved in professional sports, sports is still the ultimate unifier. I believe that's true. So you can be in the building last night, Republicans, Democrats, I mean people, not politicians. Trust me, if I saw Chuck Schumer, I'd be cursing at him. I would. Okay, can't control myself. I'm sorry. If I saw Mamdani, there may be a fist fight. But I'm talking about civilians, people who live here. You can all go into that building and be Knick fans, and that is the one thing I think right now, Norm, I think you'd agree, in this city that we all love. This basketball team of ours that is now 3 games away from their first NBA Finals appearance in 27 years.
It's always been that way. You want to be the mayor when a team wins a championship and has a ticker tape parade. It's like the greatest event. There's no downside to that.
You know, Giuliani had 5 of those.
Wow.
He always boasts about that, like he had something to do with it, you know.
Yeah.
Like Rudy got the last out, not Mariano Rivera, but he had 5. He had the Yankees win championships, the Giants win championships, and the Rangers. 94, that Messier team. So he had a pretty good run. And you're right, that's been a lot of fun being here, right, no?
Yeah, of course.
So the Knicks start us, and then we move over to the political news. And again, I tweeted yesterday, as much as I want a Knick win, that's how much I want a Massie loss. And I'm going to say this to folks out there, friends of mine, who keep saying to me, I hear this a lot, we've had enough of Trump. The people have had enough. Can't fool us anymore. Sold us a bill of goods. Lied to us. America first. And all we do is worry about Israel. Let me say this. If you say that, that's anti-Semitic. It just is. I don't care what Marjorie Taylor Greene tries to sell you. I don't care what Tucker Carlson tries to sell you or Megyn Kelly. You start to blame Israel for stuff they have nothing to do with, or you start making comments like all about Israel, or a comment like Massie made last night after an embarrassing defeat. He can't find his opponent because he's somewhere in Tel Aviv. You're an anti-Semite. And if you think this country is okay with that, you have been proven wrong time and time again over the last month. I can't tell you people that have said to me, oh, well, this country's not stupid. We figured it out. We figured Trump out. He's no good, and he's in Bibi's pocket, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, really? Have you watched what's happened? Louisiana, Bill Cassidy, see ya. 5 different Indiana Republicans in the primary, the Senate race. They went against Trump in redistricting. See ya. Thomas Massie, see ya. Mitch McConnell, see ya. I've got the proof. You got nothing. You're going to tell me, well, my friend, or my podcaster. No, I got the proof. The proof is in the pudding. We have seen over the last month in multiple states that Republicans voting for Republicans are voting for Trump-backed candidates. So clearly, they're not angry with Israel. Clearly, they're not angry with Iran. Clearly, they are still loyal to President Trump like I am. That last night said to you that if you think that Trump has lost this party, or you think Americans have given up on Trump because of Israel and Iran, you keep thinking that. And your candidates can continue to say things like, my guy's in Tel Aviv, and lose by 10 points. If he has not proven over the last month that he is still the man with the Republican Party, he never will. It is obvious, Noam Laden, that is still the case.
Well, for sure in that case with Massie in Kentucky last night, it showed that he has an enormous amount of sway. I mean, just a month ago, Ed Galrain was like 10, 15 points behind Massie. And then when the president really went heavy into that race, he was able to drag him across the finish line.
Drag him? He beat him by 10 points.
Well, but I'm saying he had to drag him from 10 points behind.
Well, right. No, but I mean, he beat him pretty easily. I mean, that was a humiliating loss for Massie. And then again, and one of the reasons why he lost, this moron, was because of his anti-Israel stance. That's one of the reasons why he lost. You know that. And he comes out and makes a joke about Israel. Here it was last night. Kentucky loser. Your career is over. You can run again for Congress. Have fun. I think he even mentioned president in 2028. He couldn't beat Ed Galrain in a primary in Kentucky. Now he's talking about the presidency, this moron. Here's Massie, cut number 3, with another joke about Israel, even on the way out.
Listen, I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrain in Tel Aviv.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's good. Well, Ed Galrain is going to be serving our country in Congress, while you moron, you'll be in Kentucky. What's he going to be doing there exactly? What do you do in Kentucky when you're not running?
I don't know. I don't know what he is, if he's a lawyer or something like that. I'm not sure.
Marjorie Taylor Greene did her nice little video yesterday morning, taking shots at Mike Lawler, telling everybody how great Massie is, and clearly that resonated. Way to go, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Then you had the other idiot from Kentucky, Rand Paul, So I tweeted Rand Paul personally last night, and I said, hey, Rand, you're next. He'll be gone. He ain't going to win either. You keep punching Trump, that's okay. You may connect. You may even draw a little blood. But the next punch is coming from him, and that's going to be the knockout punch. Because a lot of us, the majority of us Republicans, still love President Trump. You can throw all you want at him. Thomas Massie all of a sudden cared about the Epstein files. Thomas Massie had 14 years of service in Kentucky. That dates back to President Trump won 2016. 4 years of Joe Biden. Before Trump won again, where was all this outrage from Tom Massie about Jeffrey Epstein? It wasn't there. Same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, I'm with the victims. Fantastic, Marjorie. For 5 years, you blew President Trump at every opportunity. You see the lies? You don't see the lies here? They don't care. When it's good for them, okay. And when they turn their back on Trump, all of them backstabbers, then all of a sudden these stories became really important. And what happened? One quit. One got his ass kicked, and there'll be more. Now, look, this is still going to be a very rough couple of months. You know that, Noam, before the midterms, because you've got Murkowski. She hates Trump. You got Sue Collins. She's not a big Trump fan. You've got Tom Tillis. You got this moron Ro Khanna out in California. You've got Cornyn. So there are still plenty of Congress people that don't like President Trump or whatever it is. I don't know what their issue is. So he's got to deal with all that. In fact, I think Bill Cassidy, who just suffered that loss in Louisiana last week, already voted against the war yesterday. So these anti-Trumpers are going to join the Democrats in their effort to stop the war. And you would think that real Republicans, real MAGA supporters, people that love Trump like me, would realize these people are voting with Hakeem Jeffries. These are Republicans that are voting with Hakeem Jeffries. Doesn't that raise a red flag, no?
You would think so.
You would think so, right? So Jeffries was out there talking yesterday, too, the Senate Minority Leader. He's got his sights set on the Majority Leader, of course. The House, not the Senate, excuse me, the House. And he declared war yesterday on people like Sid Rosenberg. This is Hakeem Jeffries. This would be Lewis cut number 6.
I guess part of how we as House Democrats view this moment, either MAGA extremists are going to break the country or we're going to break them. And our goal is to break them. We will defeat them. We have to beat them electorally, and then we have to break their spirit because of the extremism that's being unleashed on the American people. That's completely and totally unacceptable.
Yeah, coming from your side, you dumb bastard. This guy's the guy that's always talking about, we need to unite, we need to come together. I don't know. One side trying to shoot people, that ain't us. That's you, right? One side that wants to unmask law enforcement folks. One side that wants to mutilate their teenage sons and daughters. Who's doing all that, no? Is that us?
Doesn't seem to be, no.
Yeah. And then you've got the governor of California. He's another winner. Right there with Hakeem Jeffries. His name is Gavin Newsom. I think he's running for president in 2028. Why wouldn't he? He's been such a great governor for the state of California. He's done such a great job. And he talked about how low the bar is set for this next presidential election. Gavin Newsom, Lewis, cut number 7.
Yeah, I was there because of that. America's not its, just situational leader. Trump's temporary. He is.
Yeah, because he keeps winning. He's done. That's right.
I went there a little selfishly saying California's permanent. But we'll get through this.
You will?
And we'll be repairing the spirit of Father Cause.
Shut up. Enough of him already. Priest. You'll get through this because you're leaving, you dumb bastard. You're not fixing it. You're done. Steve Hilton, if God is good to us, will be the next governor of California. And you're right, he will fix it because he's a Trump Republican. You didn't fix it. You made it worse. So, yeah, we'll get through it, California. We will. If 2 Republicans win. If Spencer Pratt is the next mayor of Los Angeles, not the incumbent Karen Bass, who's horrendous, or the psychotic DSA candidate, basically Mamdani with a vagina. If those folks win, California is still screwed. But, yes, Gavin Newsom all the damage you did, there are two guys that can help fix it, and they're both Republicans. Spencer Pratt, mayor, Steve Hilton, governor. All right, what else happened yesterday? No.
Well, you had a couple other races. Tommy Tuberville in Alabama.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because, I know Tommy for many years and used to speak to Tommy every now and then during the college football season when he was a very, very big deal coaching Auburn University. He had a lot of good stays as a head college football coach, but the stay at Auburn was probably the biggest. So you're right. He wins the Republican nomination. Doug Jones in that state won the Democrat nomination. Why is that interesting? Because as Tuberville gets set to go head-to-head with Doug Jones now for governor, that was the exact matchup for Senate in Alabama in 2020, and Tuberville won that. So Tuberville beat Doug Jones to gain that Senate seat in Alabama back in 2020. Now he's taken on Doug Jones again for governor in 2026. And I did go back to a conversation I had with Coach Tommy last year, June of 2025, when he first started talking about running for governor. Here it is, me and the Republican nominee for the governor from the great state of Alabama, Tommy Tuberville Lewis, cut number 4. So Tuberville is one of my favorite politicians. Tommy doesn't know this, but I've got a long history in sports talk radio. I did it for way too long, in fact, before I got this opportunity, and now I'm in politics, and Trump loves me, blah, blah, blah. But I did sports talk radio for a long time, and Tommy was a tremendous coach. I mean, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, he was at Cincinnati, and his work at Auburn is as good as anybody. So before I call him Mr. Governor or Mr. Senator, good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. How are you?
So, Mr. Tuberville, it's out there. You're going to run for governor in 2026. You've been a great senator. We're going to get to the big, beautiful bill here momentarily. But you've got your sights set on governor. How do the prospects look a year out?
It's good. I don't have anybody that's really signed up to run against me. When you got President Trump on your side and you're in the state of Alabama, you got a great chance and a great opportunity. I've become good friends with the president over the last 7-8 years, and I was really the first senator that only came out for him when he ran the second time. The rest of them said no chance. He's got no chance of winning after January the 6th, but that wasn't his fault. That was actually more the Democrats. But end of the day, as I told the president when I told him, I'm going home, I'm going to run for governor, and he says, what's the reasoning? And I said, well, here it is. I mean, you're sending money and power back to the states. That was one of your big campaign promises, and you're exactly doing that. And I want to take advantage of that for the people of Alabama. And he said, well, you're exactly right. We're going to try to give as much power back to the states, get it out of Washington, D.C. And so I'm excited about it.
Coach Tommy Tuberville looking good. He beat Doug Jones, as I said, 6 years ago in the Senate run in Alabama. I expect he will beat him again in this governor's race. Anything local going on that I'm missing, Noam?
A swimmer that went missing in the surf in the Rockaways yesterday. I mean,
right by Lou's house.
Yeah. A teenager who was, heading that way, I guess, just to cool off in the afternoon. This was about 3:30 yesterday afternoon. And unfortunately, it looks like he likely drowned in the surf. Somebody tried to drag him out, but they lost his hand. And, just a terrible story out of there. And then the other terrible story that everybody seems to be fascinated with is this woman who fell into a manhole.
Oh, this is a
Midtown.
Brutal story. I saw a picture of her and her daughter's beautiful, beautiful. And the daughter's children, her grandchildren, are such cute kids. And I saw all these pictures in the paper today, and I cried. This is a terrible story.
Yeah, and it seems that it wasn't a matter of her walking down the street and falling into it. She had parked her car right near 52nd and 5th Avenue, and an eyewitness says she opened her door and stepped right into this open manhole. She fell 10 feet. There was steam coming out of this thing, and they tried to. There was a couple eyewitnesses right in the neighborhood. They ran over, but she was too far down to get to her. And when then finally they were able to, they're not very sure whether she went into cardiac arrest or whether it was the steam.
The heat. Well, Lou said it's unbearably hot down there. But the worst part of the story is, obviously she fell. That's the worst part. But for the short time that she was alive when she was down there, people who walked by that manhole heard her screaming, "I'm dying."
Yeah.
I'm dying. They said she must have said, I'm dying, I don't know, 5 times, 10 times, and then she actually did die. But she was screaming, I'm dying. I mean, for a person to know, and I don't know what kind of injuries she suffered, and maybe you're right, maybe the heat took her right into cardiac arrest. I don't know what exactly killed her, but even before she went into cardiac arrest and she fell, she was screaming, I'm dying. And for a person to know that and feel helpless, it's just got to be awful. It's a terrible story.
Yeah, the eyewitness who was there, who heard her screaming those words, said, eventually she stopped, unfortunately, when they tried to get down there, and then they pulled her body up. And the thought is, and I'm assuming this is from surveillance cameras in that area right near 52nd and 5th, is that a truck came by earlier at some point and ran over the manhole, and somehow it came off.
Okay. So it wasn't like a worker?
No, it wasn't any construction or anything like that. It was just they think that somehow this truck loosened the manhole, and that's how she fell in.
What is her name, this poor lady?
I'm sure I'm not saying it correctly, but I think it is Donika Gocha is how she says it.
Well, God rest your soul, sweetheart. It's a terrible story, and we're all mourning in New York. And if your family is listening, and there's a chance they are, we send our condolences, and we just feel terrible. In fact, we should do something. Justin's not here. Kevin, you are. Find out where these people live and send flowers to the chapel, whatever. I don't know when the funeral is or when the wake is, but Sid and Friends in the morning, we should do something, okay? So
she's from Briarcliff Manor, by the way.
Oh, lovely place. So find out, Kevin, where they're going to be mourning this poor soul, and send flowers from us, okay, please?
I'm on it.
All right, Kevin Josh, program director, doing a great job filling in for Justin Ellick. We'll take a break. We've got a lot of great guests today. The legendary WFAN voice. He's on every Saturday on The Fan, but now he's on once a week with me, a legitimate Sid Rosenberg contributor, guy that is beloved in New York, Joe Benigno. He'll be here talking about the Knicks' epic comeback win last night. Plus, he made an appearance on a podcast a couple of days ago, and unprovoked, out of nowhere, he said, I want Sid Rosenberg to be the mayor of New York City. You know, I got a text last night from Rachel Campos Duffy. You know Rachel Campos. She's the host of the weekend Fox and Friends show, Saturday and Sunday mornings, flanked by Charlie or Griff or whoever it is. And she's really pumped up about this potential Sid Rosenberg run. And she actually texted me last night to find out where we were in the process, because she wants me to come in and be a live guest on the couch on Fox and Friends on the weekend, because she wants me to be the mayor. Rachel Campos. How about that, no?
Does she live in the city, Rachel Campos?
She does not. She lives in New Jersey.
Oh.
But she works in the city. Fox is about 6 blocks away. And she's got history in the city. And she's devastated over what this animal is doing. So we'll talk to Benigno coming up at 7. Mike Lawler, 7:40. And Lawler enjoyed that Thomas Massie loss, stuck at Marjorie Taylor Greene's face. And Mike Lawler is actually hosting the President of the United States, I'll be there, on Friday in Rockland County. So we'll get the specifics on that from Mr. Salt, who loves this show. Lara Trump talking about the president, his great daughter-in-law. She's here weekly. Lara's going to be here today. We'll also speak to Peter King, William DeMeo. It's a big, big show.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
But at Sid Rosenberg 19 on Twitter and at Rosenberg.Sidney on Instagram. If you folks are still messaging me, and many of you do, at Sid Rosenberg on Twitter and Instagram, no one sees it. Those accounts have been dead for the better part of 5 years. So at Sid Rosenberg 19 is Twitter. My birthday is April the 19th. And at Rosenberg.Sidney is Instagram. But Andrzejczyk from Five for Fighting was amazing yesterday. There's one other story. My friend Rivka Sanz just sent this to me, which I do want to get to. I don't really have the specifics. I don't know. 75-year-old baker, very popular, owned a very popular bakery. Jewish man, very active in the Jewish community, even volunteered for Hatzalah. And he was found dead on the side of the road. What is this? By Flushing, Queens yesterday, with a gunshot to his head, I believe. What is this story about?
It's 75-year-old Albert Itzkowitz, kind of a well-known member in the community. He owns this kosher bakery, if I'm not mistaken, it's in Flushing, and he's been sort of a member of that Jewish community for a long time, and he was found shot to death right along the Casino Lake shoreline. This is about 5 o'clock on Monday night, but they don't really have a whole lot to go on so far. At least that's what police are saying. They don't know who's behind this, if somebody had a beef with him, if there's something more to it, but they say it remains under investigation.
Texas Democrat Maureen Galindo faces backlash for pledging to imprison American Zionists at an ICE facility. I guess that's working for these folks, right? Didn't they see Tom Massie last night with his exit joke about Tel Aviv, got his ass kicked in a race he was supposed to win easily a month ago? So taking shots at Zionists and Jews and Israelis, that seems to be working, right? No? I mean, yeah, you can make money. You get hits if you're Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or any one of these reprobates that used to be fine people that, I don't know what got to them. Money got to them. And now they've gone completely berserk and they're lying every day. Lying. But a lot of these politicians, they're not winning. They are not winning. You can get hits and get people listening to your stupid podcast and lie about Israel and Bibi. You'll get that. You'll make money. Maybe that's what Tom Massie will do next. Maybe he'll sit down with Candace Owens and do a nice little podcast. But you're not going to win elections because Americans are not stupid and they're not turning their backs on President Trump. Evidence of what we've seen the last couple of weeks in Indiana, in Louisiana, and last night in Kentucky. Wrong. The American people, they're not stupid, okay? They don't believe the lies. I'm right because the proof is in the pudding. Because if they did, between Israel and Iran and all these horrible things that President Trump is involved with, all of his candidates would be getting killed. And instead, they're all winning. They're all winning. So what does that say, Noam?
I think it says that the president still has an enormous amount of sway with Republican voters.
Damn right, bitch.
Noam was going to add that part a little later, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
DRB is how he shortened it. But it might sound more incredibly insane coming from you, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah. Oh, Alex Adan just texted me. I like this guy. He's running against Cory Booker for that Senate seat in New Jersey. I think he's going to be there on Friday. Rockland County, President Trump, Mike Lawler, me. In fact, we're going to talk to Mike Lawler coming up in about 30 minutes. But I do want to take a quick break. Again, the Knickerbockers, an improbable, unbelievable, epic comeback last night, trailing by 22, not at the half, with less than 8 minutes to go in the game. But then between the end of regulation and overtime, the Knicks outscored the Cavaliers 44-11. And don't look now, but the Knickerbockers have now won 8 straight playoff games. They're up 1-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals and 7 wins away from our first championship at the Garden for the Knicks since 1973. WFAN legend and Sid Rosenberg contributor Joe Benigno.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Look, I think, Sid, here's what you ought to do. Watch what happens in Los Angeles. And if Spencer Pratt wins the mayor's race in Los Angeles, I want to see Sid Rosenberg hire the same social media guys and the same social media team that Spencer Pratt is using, and then go work for Sid Rosenberg, and then you run for mayor.
Here's the guy I want to see, and I don't know if his wife would let him, and I've told him this already, and KT McFarland was on his show the other day, and she said this too, if you know KT, right? Yeah. Used to work for Trump and all of that, right? Sid Rosenberg, the mayor of New York City. Why not? My buddy Sid for freaking mayor. Now, I know I've talked to Sid about that. His wife is not crazy about him being the mayor, but there you go.
Hey, next time you talk to Sid, make sure you tell him you brought it up on our podcast.
I will.
Let me tell you something about Sid. You know, I got I have to say, Joe, every once in a while I get a little tired of him because he talks about himself all the time, but that's the way anybody does. We all do it, so I don't hold it against him. He would make head and shoulders over what we have today. It would be a complete turnaround, and it would be so refreshing to get an ordinary guy in there and to try to do the job. They couldn't go with Curtis Sliwa. He ran a bad campaign. He would have been. I backed Curtis all the way. But Sid's I'm going to tell you know something. The fact that you mentioned Sid, Sid's a polarizing figure to a certain extent. You're going to get people say, "Oh, what a bunch of come on." But for the most part, he loves Israel. He's going to do the right thing for New York. He sees the crime getting out of control. He's going to do his due diligence. He would do a great job as mayor. I really believe that.
List keeps growing. That was KT McFarland on Friday's show, and then a podcast that the legend, my dear friend Joe Benigno, does with a guy named Ralph Romeo. Thank you for the kind words, Ralph. Nice guy. Ralph's a nice guy. His wife, I believe her name is Cindy. She's a nice lady, too. But the list keeps growing. Rachel Campos, as you know her, from Fox and Friends. She was texting me last night. Lara Trump, who will join me at 8:30 this morning, on air, basically begged me to run. So I don't know, but the list keeps growing. I didn't expect Joe Benigno to bring that up during a podcast where he was talking about the Mets and the Knicks or that epic comeback victory last night. But while I've got the legend on the phone, still doing a big-time Saturday show on WFAN and now here weekly with us, I do want to thank you, Joseph. That was very, very kind. I know you meant it. You're right about Danielle. You're really right about that. But at the very least, thank you for mentioning me, and I appreciate that.
Well, you know, Sid, I love you, and with the disaster that's the mayor right now in New York City, boy, what a contrast that would be. How you would turn it around. You know, you get your buddy Lebedo there, and Scott Lebedo, get him involved. What's her name? Palladino, right? Vicky Palladino. She's as tough as nails. Yep. Get her in there as well. You got Tish still there as the commissioner. There is the police commissioner. And you got something going, bro. I mean, New York City would turn around in a freaking second. This anti-Semitism BS would be out the window. It would be. I should be alive to see Sid Rosenberg, mayor of New York City.
I love you, Joe. Thank you for that. The aforementioned Scott Lebedo will join me coming up in about 50 minutes. We're going to go from Joe Benigno to Mike Lawler, who is going to host President Trump in Rockland County on Friday. I'll be there. To Scott Lebedo, to Lara Trump. So we got a great guest list today. And again, I appreciate it. I'm still pondering it. We'll see if Danielle moves. I doubt she will.
When is what? I'm not even sure. What do they get? 6 years in New York? How many years does the mayor get?
4.
Yeah.
4.
It is only 4. Okay,
yeah, that's it.
I wasn't 100% sure.
4 years will be enough time to listen. The city was in terrible shape before. Bill de Blasio was the worst mayor ever. This guy will be worse. Eric Adams, with all of his bravado and all his tweets, he was awful for 3 out of 4 years. He got better the 4th year because he sold his soul to President Trump, and and Tom Homan and Jessica Tisch figured out the crime situation to a certain extent here in New York, but he was a bad mayor. So you had awful Bill de Blasio, bad Eric Adams, maybe the all-time worst here in Mamdani. So you're talking about right off the bat, at the very least, a 16-year run of lousy leadership. This city may not be able to come back from that. That's why I'm even considering this. And when I look at Curtis and 14% and 7%, he's been a joke. It's been a joke. Or these other candidates, and I like John Schell. He may run. I like Michael Rappaport. He may run. Jessica Tisch may run. Julie Menon may run. God bless them all. I like them all. But this Republican Party needs a good shot in the ass in this city, in this state. Look, we just had your governor election last year, and Mikey Muhammad Sherrill, who's awful, right, beat Jack Ciattarelli. We're in the same situation here. If my friend Bruce Blakeman doesn't beat Kathy Hochul, and we've got to go through at least 3 years because Mamdani's not going anywhere until 2029, at least 3 years of Hochul and Mamdani, it is over. New York is just about dead, but at that point, you pull the plug.
Yeah. Hey, look, I mean, bro, I will say it again. With the disaster that New York is, I don't know, but everything I read about Bruce Blakeman, I don't see how he's winning. I mean, it looks like he's behind if you want to, you look at the polls. I mean, I don't even know if anybody really knew who he was. I thought Elise Stefanik was going to run, and I guess that for whatever reason, that didn't work out for her. But boy, New York is in so much trouble, Sid. I mean, it would be off the charts if you took over as mayor. You'd be a combination of Rudy Giuliani and Bloomberg. I don't love Bloomberg, but he was a good mayor. You'd be off the charts, Sid.
Well, we'll see. I love you for thinking. I respect you so much, and when you say that, it means a lot to me. But we'll get back to that mayor conversation, I'm sure, 1,000 times on this show. But let's talk about what's going well in New York, because nothing really is. But what's going well in New York happens to be on 33rd and 7th. Joseph, you've been a Knicks fan your whole life. You're in your 70s. You look great, but you're in your 70s. You know this team, this organization, the history. You were there from basically day one. What you saw last night, you've never seen before. In fact, it's only happened like that one other time between the Clippers and the Grizzlies back in 2012 when this epic comeback is over last night, and the Knicks have now won their 8th consecutive playoff game and basically sucked the life out of Cleveland. What were you thinking late last night?
I'm thinking this is a championship caliber team, Sid. I mean, I think last night, with all the blowouts, blowing out Atlanta like they did, blowing away the Sixers like they did, this was an epic comeback. This was one of the I was trying to think of a greater Knick win in the playoffs than what I saw last night. I got to tell you, I really can't. Considering that they were Sid, for 40 minutes, this team was dead in the water.
You know what win I loved, and again, it wasn't 22-point comeback. But right. I hated the Miami Heat so much, hated them. When Allen Houston hit that shot, that was 99. That was, and they went on to lose to San Antonio the last time we got to the NBA Finals. That was a big one for me. But you're right. Go on. You're right. Nothing like this epic comeback.
Bro, they were dead in the water. I mean, let's be honest about it. They couldn't make a shot. They're turning the ball over left and right. They're getting killed inside. They're getting killed on the offensive glass. Jared Allen, Mobley, getting all these offensive rebounds. Mitchell's going in for layup after layup. I'm like, they're losing this game. And here's the other thing that's going through my mind, and I've documented this many times. The Knicks have never won a playoff series when they lost game one at home. Never. And even 3 times since 2021 that's happened, including last year with Indiana. So this is all going through my mind. They got to find a way to win this game. And, boy, all of a sudden the switch went on. Jalen Brunson took the game over. Somebody's got to – if I'm a Cleveland Cavalier fan, somebody's got to tell me why Kenny Atkinson continued to let James Harden, who's about as good defensively as I would be against Brunson just killed him. He just left him out on that island one-on-one. Brunson got every shot he wanted, made every shot he wanted. Just incredible. And let's give credit to 2 other guys that really got to get big credit in this game. Number one is Mikal Bridges. This guy didn't score a point in Game 2 against Atlanta in the first round of the playoffs. People are talking about Mike Brown's going to bench him, this and that. Ever since that, this guy's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I was going to say, not just last night.
Right.
We've heard time and time again, the Knicks, they gave up five draft choices, right, to get Bridges from Brooklyn. And like you said, has a big game against Atlanta. Get rid of him. He's no good. And the rest of the series against the Hawks, Philadelphia, and last night with those 2 big threes, he's been great. And while you're going to finish your statement, I want to throw Landry in there because these guys, they never played with Tom Thibodeau. Mike Brown is playing some of these guys are coming up big.
Yeah, he put Josh Hart on the bench. He was having a tough shooting night last night. And Shamet hit 3 monster threes. I mean, that one to tie the game that bounced up and came back down again. Just unbelievable. Bro, the one in overtime that kind of really sealed the game. Just unbelievable. Anunoby got hot finally. You could see how rusty he was for not playing for 2 weeks or whatever since he played. He really couldn't get off for his 3-point shot. He got going in the overtime, made some big baskets, some big free throws. Bro, and I'll keep saying it. They're 9 down. They need 7 more wins to win the championship. I don't want to hear about, we're going to get to the finals. No, they got to win. This is it. And when you have to slay, look, they have a 53-year dragon that is hanging over their head, Sid. 53 freaking years. And when you have to slay dragons like that, you have to do things in like epic fashion. And last night was epic. And I'm telling you, you got to feel good about this team going. You really do. I don't fear any team. What they showed me last night tells me that this team is a legitimate championship team. Now they got to go out there and do it.
It's funny. I know. I had Mike Breen on the show yesterday, the Hall of Fame NBA voice and the voice of the Knicks. He can't do it for him, but he does me. It's great. And he said they're great too. And I said, Mike, what's happening now is even before this epic comeback win last night, was that the Knicks fan, they have these expectations that getting to the finals is not enough. The Knicks fan, if they beat Cleveland, now they're up 1-0, if they beat Cleveland and lose to Oklahoma City or San Antonio, the Knicks fan is not going to be disappointed. They're going to be angry. And you didn't disagree, and you seem to be that guy right now.
Absolutely. No, they got to win, Sid. Enough. I've seen the finals. I've seen them losing the finals in 94, in 99. It's time to win the freaking championship. And if they don't win it this year, Sid, when are they winning it? This is the best team they've had. In all due respect to the Patrick Ewing years, and I've said this before, Patrick, Oakley, Starks, Sprewell, Camby, Larry Johnson, Allen Houston, all those guys, all due respect, loved them. They went to the finals twice. They're not as good as this team. This team has fire. This team really reminds me, look, they got to win a championship, but they remind me of the championship team because of all these guys that can beat you. They have 6, 7, 8 guys that can all hit three-point shots, let's be honest. And on any given night, that guy can beat you. They have an unbelievable player in Jalen Brunson, who is probably the greatest free agent signing in the history of New York sports, in all due respect to Reggie Jackson.
Wow.
Jalen Brunson is starting to get into that category.
Now, be careful. Be careful, though. But Reggie won 2 World Series, got to 3.
He did, but you know what, Sid? Think about this. You're right. But that team also went to the World Series the year before Reggie got there.
They got swept by Cincinnati.
They went to the World Series, though. This team,
I know.
They were in the abyss for 20 years.
Well, let me ask you this, and stick with Brunson and get back to the rest of your statement, because I don't disagree with you necessarily, but Reggie, that's law right there. You're messing with the gods.
Well, that's the status that Brunson has right now.
Okay, so where do you put Brunson? And again, he hasn't won yet. That's a big deal. So you're not putting him over Walt Clyde Frazier, who won 2 championships.
No,
where do you put Brunson right now, after another big effort last night, on the list of all-time great New York Knicks?
Well, look, he's not Clyde. He's not Willis Reed. He's not Ewing. I mean, I can't put him there. It's tough to put him ahead of a guy like Dave DeBusschere as well, who's just
really
unbelievable.
He's better than DeBusschere.
Right,
Stop
he's
it.
Closing in. Let me.
Listen. DeBusschere was a nice, very good player.
No, he was a great. No. You're wrong, bro. We got to remember this. When they made that trade for DeBusschere with Walt Bellamy and Butch Colmires for DeBusschere, that turned it around. That was it. That solidified.
But he was never the star of that team. He was.
But that just
Brunson's the star.
That just shows you how deep that team is.
No, I know, but Brunson's if Brunson doesn't go out there and score 35 points, they're not going to win.
What? I'll put Brunson, the 5th guy behind those guys. But I'll put him ahead of Bernard King. I will put him. Bernard only played 3 years there.
Carmelo.
I'll put him ahead of that. But you got to go win now. Now you got to go put that champ. You got to those 2 banners that are growing hair. They're so freaking old. Now you got to. Now you got to put that banner up.
Okay.
He's there, bro. But I'll say this: I'm going to say it again. In the history of New York sports, maybe Reggie's the only other guy. Jalen Brunson is right there as far as the greatest free agent signing. And I want to say this too: Leon Rose. Okay, we never see the guy. The job that this guy has done is just off the charts. He gets Brunson as a free agent. He makes the trade to get OG Anunoby with Toronto. He trades quickly and Barrett for him. He gets Karl Anthony Towns in that Randall DiVincenzo trade. I didn't like it, but you look at it now. Bridges, like you said, for the 5 first-rounders. He steals Josh Hart from Portland. I mean, it's unbelievable. The job that this guy has done. And give Thibodeau credit here too, bro. Thibodeau, this is Thibodeau's team, and Mike Brown's done a great job. I mean, he really has the adjustments he's made, running the offense through Karl Anthony Towns, the different defensive matchups that he's had in this series in the playoffs so far, covering McCallum, taking Maxey out of it in the Philadelphia series. Brown's done a phenomenal freaking job, like you said, using the bench, which Thibodeau never did. The contributions you got from Shamet, the contributions you get from Clarkson, Alvarado, McBride, obviously Mitchell Robinson. Can Mitchell Robinson, by the way, can he make a free throw?
No, he can't do it.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, you tell me this guy is practicing free throws.
He can't do it.
Shoots these line drive, line drive shots. That I mean, come on.
You know what's funny?
Can he make a foul shot, Sid?
You just thanked everybody, and it was great. Leon Rose is a magician. He's been brilliant. You're right. He will go down as maybe the greatest GM in New York. I know Cashman's done pretty well. But I know it's been 17 years since a championship. But you didn't thank Jim Dolan, and Dolan was the guy that brought Leon Rose in. I say that because during the years of Isaiah and Larry Brown and Bill Jackson and all these guys, everybody was quick to murder Jim Dolan. But now that he hired Leon Rose and we're on the precipice of a championship, no one's thanking Jim Dolan outside of me, Craig Carton, and Mike Breen. Why not?
Well, I'll give credit to Dolan too, man. I mean, I got nothing negative to say about him. I love him. I mean, at this point, how could I not love Jim Dolan? I love him. I mean, what the turnaround at his franchise.
He is still employing Chris Drury. Don't forget that.
Well, that is true. I don't understand the Chris Drury thing. I mean, I think that Chris Drury and David Stearns are, they're brothers from a different mother. But, I mean, that's, we could get into that, but whatever. The turnaround, like I said, they were a laughing stock for 20 years. Let's be honest about it. This franchise was a joke for 20 years. Kobe Bryant, LeBron, these guys, they couldn't wait to come to the Garden and torch the Knicks for 60 freaking points or whatever. You had half the crowd rooting for the other team. It was a disgrace. And where they are now, 7 wins away from the parade, bro. And Mamdani better have a freaking parade. I know he's taken away this stuff with the Veterans Day, which is a disgrace. But I'll say this, with all the woked out liberal Knicks fans there are at Madison Square Garden, how could there not be a parade?
No, Mamdani is all over Twitter every time the Knicks win. In fact, there was a picture last week of Mamdani hanging out with Spike Lee at a Williamsburg bar.
I didn't see Spike.
He was there. He was there. But they were hanging out watching. They were watching a soccer game. Okay. Either way, Mamdani. I called out Mamdani and Kathy Hochul last week. The last thing I want to see is a tweet congratulating the Knicks. It's bad enough that Mamdani's stink is all over City Field, and I was in Steve Cohen's box on Friday night. He couldn't have been nicer. But to see Mamdani and Hochul congratulate the Knicks, you think Mamdani has any idea who Rory Sparrow is, or Johnny Newman, or Sly Williams? Give me a damn break.
He didn't even know Patrick Ewing is. I mean, come on. I mean, you're talking about Johnny Newman. I mean, give me.
I love Jay New. Come on. That series of Bernard King and Jay New against Bird and the Celtics. How great was that? Come on.
Oh my, that was one. You know what? Even though they lost, you talk about the 1984 series when they lost the Celtics in 7.
That's right. I
was at Game 6. Of that series, right? I went to Game 6. I was a lot younger then, and what a game that was. Larry Bird missing a 3 at the buzzer. The Knicks wound up winning that game. Bernard went for like 40-plus in every game at the Garden. Unfortunately, he got killed in every game in Boston. But that was a tremendous series. Look, I mean, but those teams, Bernard, they only could go so far. Unfortunately, Bernard got hurt, and they should have never let Bernard go. They should have let Bernard play with Patrick Ewing. That didn't really work out.
Yeah.
But bro, all I can say, let's just get back to this. I give Dolan credit. I got to give him credit. You know what? I really do. Look, when I look at some of the owners right now, I'm very down on Steve Cohen. I'm very down on Woody Johnson. Jim Dolan's pretty high up there considering what's going on right now with those other teams.
Well, listen, and it wasn't until Harbaugh came along and they drafted Jackson Dart. Mara wasn't going to a popularity contest in the city either.
That is true.
And it has been 17 years for Steinbrenner since the Yankees won, so it's not been a great run here. No one even knows who the Brooklyn Nets owner is except for Evan Roberts.
Can I say this, too, about the Brooklyn Nets? They got so screwed in the lottery that they wound up with the 6th pick. If anybody thinks, and I'm going to say this, let me say this too. If anybody thinks that NBA lottery is not fixed, you're out of your mind. Going back to when the first lottery, when the Knicks got Patrick Ewing in 1985, that was fixed.
That was fixed? And David Stern fixed that to make sure Ewing got it.
How about this, Sid? Think about this. The San Antonio Spurs, think about this, okay? The San Antonio Spurs have won the lottery 3 times. Do you know who the guys were that were the number 1 picks those years? they would be David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Victor Wembanyama.
Not bad.
Do you think that the freaking league wants the San Antonio Spurs to be good?
I don't know why. Greg Popovich, I hated him.
Oh, God, Greg Popovich,
they were great, though. Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili.
They won 5 championships. So I'm not taking that away from them. But come
it's fixed. No, you're right.
By
It
the way,
is
how
fixed.
about Mark Cuban with Don yesterday at the White House? Well, are you serious?
I know.
You see that?
I did, and Trump took a nice little jab at Mark. He forgave him for voting for Kamala Harris, but it was cute seeing my friend Dr. Oz. He was in these studios a couple of days ago, Dr. Oz, and Bobby Kennedy and all those guys all laughing. They weren't laughing with Mark Cuban, you moron. They were laughing at him. But look, if Mark is going to come around, better late than never. Does he still own a piece of the Dallas Mavericks, or is he out?
I don't think he does.
I don't think so either. I think Miriam Adelson, President Trump's big donor, I love her. I think she took it all away from Mark, so that's good news. Even though that team stinks, and they've got a anti-Israel guy in that basketball team who used to play here. His name is Kyrie Irving. I got to run, Joe Benigno, but you're just the best. You're the best ever. You're still the best ever. And thank you for hopping on this morning. We will talk throughout this series. Your Knicks are on their way, Joe Benigno, and thank you for the mayor stuff, too. I love you. Thank you so much.
Mayor Sidney Arthur Rosenberg. I want to be there at the inauguration for you. I want to be on the earth to see Sidney become mayor of New York City and turn the greatest city in the world around. That's what I want to see.
I love you. And Terry. You're great. Thank you, Joseph. Seriously, thank you. You're the best. There he is, the great Joe Benigno. Check him out every Saturday morning on WFAN, now a weekly contributor to our show right here. And he's saying 7 more. Not only does he want the Knicks to win the championship, does he think the Knicks will win the championship? He expects the Knicks to win the NBA championship. We'll see. Mike Lawler, Scott Lebedo, Peter King, William DeMeo, and Lara Trump all coming up. Just getting started on a Wednesday.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hard to believe that Cher is 80 years old today, but happy birthday to Cher. 80, is that right, Lewis?
I was stupefied.
I know, 80 years old. It's a good song. Cher is terrific. So that was Thomas Massie, that moron, and it's jokes like that. That's why I lost. You can't make it up. Keep hating on Israel. That's really working for you guys, you know. Keep hating on the Iran war. Hate everything Trump does. It's really working. What else do you need to see? We saw what happened in Indiana a couple of weeks ago. All those 5 senators that went against Trump on the redistricting. How'd that go? They all lost. Every one of them lost. Bill Cassidy, Louisiana last week. Big mouth with Trump. Lost. See ya. Thomas Massie, 14 years, complete jerk-off, anti-Israel, anti-Iran, anti-everything Trump. Not only did Massie lose, and he was a big favorite, he got hammered. And if you don't think Rand Paul is next, then you're really stupid. Because America's talking. They're telling you something now, which is MAGA is alive and well. We don't need Tucker Carlson. We don't need Marjorie Taylor Greene. Look at Indiana. Look at Louisiana. Look at Kentucky. All these primaries where the anti-Trumpers had a chance to win, and they got bludgeoned. Don't tell me MAGA's dead or people have lost confidence in President Trump. You couldn't sound dumber. I've got the proof. Those candidates are losing. There's no way Tom Massie should have lost. He got blown out. So you keep making Israel jokes in a nice little bar in Lexington while Galrain is sitting next to Mike Lawler in the chamber. And I mentioned Mike Lawler, the king of Rockland County, Mr. Salt. He's about to hop on, and he's actually hosting President Trump. Trump coming to Rockland County on Friday. Going to come out there and support Mike Lawler in his next run for Congress. Mike's going to win. He's got a bunch of 3 ladies are all psychopaths, all lunatics. Mike's going to beat him. But President Trump is still coming to Rockland on Friday. I look forward to seeing the president as well. So, Mr. Lawler, you got a big weekend coming up, don't you?
No question, Sid. But on the heels of a big night, it was good to see my people deliver a big win against Thomas Massie. As I said last night, shalom.
I saw that.
The fact that Thomas made his campaign all about Israel, Jews, and basically bashing Jewish Americans for participating in his election. This is democracy. People from all around the country have a right to partake in elections. Ultimately, the voters in his district made the final determination, and it wasn't even close.
Nope.
And I think a lot of people are tired of watching politicians on both sides, from Thomas Massie to Ro Khanna to AOC and Ilhan Omar, try and use Jews as a scapegoat. Enough.
And yet you'll talk to some people there, they'll go, oh, America's wising up. You can't fool us anymore. They know that Trump, Bibi's in his pocket. Everything Trump does, he does for Israel. Voters are wising up. And then all these races, the Trump supporters are winning, and the anti-Trumpers are getting killed. So what do you mean America's wising up? If anything, MAGA looks more alive than ever.
The good news is that on the Republican side, we're rooting out the anti-Semites. We're kicking them out. On the Democratic side, they're embracing them. You have this lunatic in Texas yesterday running in Texas 35 calling for Jews to be put in a new concentration camp.
I saw that. Yeah.
And then in Pennsylvania last night, a rabid anti-Semite wins the Democratic primary. You have this guy in New Jersey that's likely to win a primary in 2 weeks, running. He was tied to the blind sheik. I mean, this is insanity that you're seeing across the Democratic Party. And, on our side, Thomas Massie tried to play into this, thinking that, in Kentucky, this would sell. And ultimately, the voters rejected it. They said no.
I did see Marjorie Taylor Greene's tweet yesterday, and she was supporting Thomas Massie. And it's becoming increasingly clear when Marjorie or Tucker or any one of these people support you and you're a Republican, you're going to lose. It's happening every week at this point. And she found time in her tweet while supporting Thomas Massie to come at you. When she came at you pretty hard, I did tweet Marjorie back this morning. And I know in the beginning you said to me she's bad. I went against you. As you know, Mike, her and I became friendly, texting. She was on the show a couple of times. I tried to convince you and D'Esposito she's not all that bad. Okay, you were right. I was wrong. I did the same thing with Megyn Kelly. I gave her a chance, too. She was on this show twice. I was on her show. I tend to give people chances. But after a while, they're exposed. They are who they are. And Marjorie Taylor Greene has proven to be anti-Semitic, anti-Trump, anti-American. No thanks.
Listen, I read her number the moment I met her. She is one of the dumbest people to ever have served in Congress. In 5 years, she accomplished absolutely nothing other than enriching herself off stock trades. And she stayed 5 years and 1 day so that she could collect her pension. She's a fraud. She's a complete fraud. And the fact is, her bill that she was railing about called for parents to be arrested. It was unconstitutional. It was never going to become law. The only reason it got a vote on the House floor was because they needed her vote for the NDAA, and so they promised her they would put her batshit crazy bill on the floor that calls for parents to be arrested. Look, at the end of the day, these folks, Marjorie, Thomas, they're not here to govern. They're not here to legislate. They're not here to actually do the business of the American people. They're here to grandstand, to make a name for themselves, to enrich themselves, and it's time for all of them to go across the board. On both sides of the aisle, America needs to root out the crazy and start electing people that are serious about dealing with the challenges facing the American people, from housing to healthcare to energy, foreign policy. You know, they talk about America first. Well, what happens if you pull back on all foreign policy. You pull back on all foreign aid. You allow China, you allow Iran, you allow Venezuela, you allow Russia to do with what they want. We've seen how these people operate.
Yeah.
We've seen what they do.
Yeah.
You look at China, by the way. President Trump, what he has done in just over a year and a few months in office is pull at the strings of this alliance that China built by removing Maduro from Venezuela, by blocking the flow of oil out of the Strait of Hormuz for China, by going after their stranglehold on the Panama Canal. President Trump has beat back China, so much so that President Xi is now talking about purchasing American oil and gas.
Amazing. I know. And Putin was...
And these folks can't even see it.
No,
they don't understand
I
it.
know. And Putin was just there, and nobody cares. He was there yesterday. But look, you're right. We're rooting out some of the bad ones. Marjorie left, but she wouldn't have won anyway. She was dead in the water because Trump hates her. And it's becoming...
She left because she didn't want to lose her primary like Massie just did.
Exactly. Yep. It's become increasingly clear if Trump goes after you, you're not going to win. So for all the folks out there telling me that, oh, Trump, he's lost the magic and people are sick of Israel, sick of Iran. I mean, you couldn't sound dumber. Clearly, he still has a huge influence on all these people. And when they stab him in the back, they lose. But the bad news is there's still plenty on our side. Murkowski, Collins, this psycho Tom Tillis. I know Kahan is a Democrat in Los Angeles. But it could be very difficult over the next 4 months with some of your colleagues in Congress. I know Bill Cassidy, for example, already voted against the war yesterday. So with some of these people on their way out and others that are still there that just exist because they hate President Trump, I think you have to admit, Mike Lawler, this could be a very difficult 4 months.
Look, people like Susan Collins, who are in similar districts, she represents Maine, similar to my district. We have a job to do, and that's to represent our state, represent our districts, and do right by our voters. And the president understands when you have to represent your district, if there's disagreement, there's disagreement. But when you have people like Massie who are intentionally trying to create division and intentionally trying to inflame people, then, you're not going to have support from folks. My objective in the way that I've approached this job is to actually do the job, to actually engage on the issues. The reason I won on the issue of SALT was not because everybody agreed with me. They didn't want to do it. But because I worked through the process, I negotiated in good faith. And when you cut a deal, you stick to the deal. And that's the reality of it. And so, to me, a lot of these people, frankly, I look at some of my colleagues that are on the far right or the far left. They don't know how to define a win. They don't know how to take yes for an answer. They don't know how to negotiate. And they constantly move the goalposts. And that's why they get nothing. That's why they get nowhere, because government is not about absolutism. It is about incremental progress. You're not going to get everything you want in one fell swoop. The reality of life, anybody who's ever been married understands that. You're not going to get everything you want. Your spouse is not going to agree with you on everything. So if you can disagree with your spouse, what in fuck's name makes you think you're going to agree with a politician? You're not.
No.
And that's why we have a process. You work through the process. I've pushed back extensively on things I disagree with the president on. I've also said where I agree with him on. But it's not personal. I don't go after him personally, because what does that accomplish? What does that get you? I don't care who the president is. It doesn't get you anything. And these folks have made it, personal, and that's why they're out. They're gone. They're losing.
Yeah, we talked about some of the people that are still around in Congress that may make life a little more difficult, but. When you talked about America First a while ago, I'm not sure when America First became America Only. I've got friends who I like and respect and talk to all the time, and they try to convince me that Trump sold a bill of goods, and he lied. He did not. There is nothing about America
never
first.
said-
There's nothing
he
about
never said he
there's
would
nothing
not.
about America first. That's America only. And you can't make America first, like you said, if you allow Russia, China, Iran, all these other countries to run roughshod over us like they did with Obama and Biden. So believe it or not, getting involved in conflict sometimes means America first. It's that easy, Mike.
No question. And the president never, ever said that he would not use force. He never, ever said that we would not go to war. What he said is we're not going to be stuck in these forever wars. But he showed in his first term that he was willing to use force, especially against Iran. He showed he was willing to take action against China. He showed he was willing to arm Ukraine in that first term to build up against Russia. He was the one calling on NATO to increase its commitments. He was the one calling on Japan to increase its commitments in the Indo-Pacific. So he has been clear-eyed about these issues. That doesn't mean that he wants us to be in these long-term wars, but he is willing to take action to push back against this unholy alliance, primarily between China, Russia, and Iran. Add in Venezuela, Cuba, and North Korea as a second tier. And look what is happening right now. He removed Maduro and isolated Venezuela from this alliance. Cuba is completely contained at the moment and on the verge of collapse. China is now begging for, trade with us with respect to energy. You have Iran completely economically, decimated at this moment. They can't even move the oil, and they have no storage capacity. So you look at what is happening. And by the way, part of what his strategy was with Russia from the very beginning was to keep Putin on the sidelines. And what has Putin done? He's not gotten involved in Iran. He's not gotten involved in Syria. He's not gotten involved in Venezuela. That is a positive step at the moment. Do we want the war in Ukraine to end? Absolutely. Do I think Vladimir Putin is a vile dictator and thug? Yes. Do I trust him? No. But the president's approach to all of this has been to isolate and contain. And when you look at what has actually been done, not what the media screams about, not what the Democrats scream about, but what has actually been done, it is actually significant.
Yeah, remarkable, actually. So, talking about the president, a couple of minutes ago, I'll let you run. I know you have an 8 o'clock meeting, but he's going to be in Rockland County on Friday night. He's coming for you, which I love because you know how much I love you. And I guess, is going to be a bunch of speakers? I mean, do you even know what Friday night is going to look like or any of that?
Well, it's going to be a great event. This is the first time in 50 years since Gerald Ford that a president of the United States has come to Rockland County for a large-scale public event. And the president is going to hold, a rally-style event, but it's an official White House event. And, the president will be speaking. I will speak. We're going to have some surprise guests, yourself included. But we're going to have some great constituents take the stage and talk about issues from SALT and the tax bill to immigration and sanctuary policies, and working on a big surprise for a first responder and their families. So it's going to be a great event, and we already have over 5,000 people have signed up in 24 hours. So it's going to be great.
You're going to fit 5,000 people? 5,000 at Joe and Joe's?
No, it's going to be at Rockland Community College in the field house. And
very nice.
Yeah, look, this is it's a big honor. A lot of people are like, wait, you're having the president there, or you're in the swing district? Look, he's the president of the United States, and it's a big honor to have the president come and speak.
Huge.
And I think people are excited. And again, to me, this is about the district. This is about the work that has been done for the district, from SALT to dealing with some of the immigration challenges that my district experienced, especially when Eric Adams and Kathy Hochul were trying to send illegal immigrants up into our district, and you had criminal aliens committing violent crimes. Sheridan Gorman, 18-year-old, college student, brutally murdered just 2 months ago. Her family is from my district. So there's going to be a lot to talk about, and I'm looking forward to having the president there.
You son of a bitch, if you and Ed Day, who still had the greatest line ever when he threatened to choke Eric Adams out when illegals were coming to Rockland County, if you guys give President Trump a proclamation on Friday, making that day Trump Day, I'm going to be furious. I believe I'm the last person to get that. Is that not true?
Well, he is the president of the United States.
Come on.
I do think I will give him a Mr. Salt hat, though.
You got to do that. You have to do that. Make the trade. Sure. Make America great hat for a Mr. Salt hat. I'm really happy he's coming, and you know how much I love you and respect you. You're the smartest guy in Congress. I have to say it. You're the smartest guy in Congress, and we're lucky to have you, Mike Lawler. So great job here today after that great loss by Tom Massie yesterday. I look forward to seeing you in Rockland County on Friday night. Mike Lawler, I love you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sid. Love you, too.
God bless you. There he is, the king of Rockland County, as President Trump calls him, Mr. Salt, the great Congressman Mike Lawler. And we'll all be together in Rockland on Friday night. Happy 80th birthday to Cher. A lot more to do today. DeMeo, King, Lara Trump, Scott LeBedo. LeBedo's next. All that still to come.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I love this guy, the late, great Joe Cocker. We did celebrate Cher's birthday on this show today. She's 80 today. Cher. All you guys that wanted a banger and Moonstruck, she's 80.
Kevin did, definitely.
Oh, Kevin did for sure. She was great in that movie. She was very cute. That was a great film. Nicolas Cage and what was the father's name again? He was a great character actor. Vincent Gardenia.
Okay,
I saw him on Broadway. He was great. And she was also good in Little Mermaid. I liked her in that. But she was really great in the movie with Eric Stoltz. I went to a Met game last year with Bill O'Reilly, and Stoltz and Matthew Modine had dinner with us. What's the name of that again?
Oh, I thought you were going to
say
Mask,
right?
Mask.
Yeah, Mask. Yeah. Not The Mask. The Mask was Jim Carrey.
Yeah, quite different.
Mask was, right.
Kind of a different thing.
Right. He played Rocky Dennis. She's terrific, Cher. But Joe Cocker would have been 82 today, right?
Did I text 82? Yeah, 82.
I say she's terrific, Cher, but she's also a Trump hater. If she was running for Congress, she'd lose. And the only time I ever questioned whether or not my dear friend, 30 years, the great men's fashion designer Joe Abood was gay, because he's married to a beautiful woman. He's got 2 gorgeous daughters. He's got grandchildren. But when he took me to Mohegan Sun and took me to a Cher concert, and we sat with Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, my God.
I really started to think, oh, my God, I miss his right. And he was dancing to Cher. Joseph.
Did he take you out for dinner beforehand?
Yes, he did.
And then was there an after?
No, you know what we did before? I swear to maybe it was the night before. It was the same weekend. They threw a surprise birthday party. Donna did, his ex-wife, for Dan Aykroyd at the bar downstairs in Mohegan Sun. So first, Abu took me to Dan Aykroyd's surprise birthday party. And then it may have been the next night we went to the Cher concert. Either way, it was a very gay weekend. For 2 guys that are not gay, but,
Well, Dan Aykroyd?
Dan Aykroyd, I don't know. It just the crowd there was different. Let's just leave it at that. But, getting back to Trump for 1 second, because his daughter-in-law Laura is about to join us. Keep stabbing him in the back. If you don't think Rand Paul is going to lose his next election, I'm going to say it right to your face. You're a moron. He's done. It's over. I'll tell you who else is done. Nice job out of Rios out in New Jersey. Lauren Boebert, you're done. You're all done. All you tough guys that now all of a sudden care about Jeffrey Epstein. You never did for 10 years. And you should. I'm okay with that. He was a horrible man. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's everybody's guilty. It's gotten a little silly. But you should care about that. You should. But you guys didn't care. Massie didn't care when Biden was president or even when Trump won in 2016. Lauren Boebert Marjorie Taylor Greene with the victims. Marjorie Taylor Greene practically performed fellatio on Trump when I was at the last State of the Union before this one. She walked in with a Make America Great hat and a red, white, and blue Trump shirt. And what do you think these people think we're stupid? They really do. So you want to end your political career, be a tough guy, go out there and blast Trump and blame Israel for everything, all the ills around the world, and you'll get your little crew of people, your Tuckers, your Candaces, and your podcast lovers, and your career will be over. So do it. I want you to. I want you to do it. I'm watching this with a hard-on, a raging hard-on. Tom Massie loses. This is, I can take 10 Viagra. My penis will never be that hard. You keep stabbing Trump in the back, and you're going to lose. Oh, how do you know that, Sid? Well, have you paid any attention? Indiana, Louisiana, Kentucky last night? Keep doing it. I don't care. We're weeding out the problem. Getting rid of them. You don't like Israel? That's fine. Go to your little bar in Lexington, Kentucky, sit there with your anti-Semite buddies, and rail on Bibi and Israel all day while better people are in Congress trying to save the world. Doesn't bother me. I don't care. I love President Trump. That's the bottom line. I voted for him. I don't love everything he does, but I pretty much do, especially the big items. And I don't run away from him if I have some questions. Questions are okay, but when you start to publicly stab somebody in the back, that's not okay. And America is sick of it. They're sick of it. No, they're not siding with you guys. They're not anti-Israel. They're not. Because if they were, Tom Massie would have won by 10 points last night, not lose by 10. They're sick of you. All of you. You're done. Rand Paul, you're done. Lauren Boebert, you're done. Many more of you. Maybe Murkowski, maybe Collins, whenever they run again. Tom Tillis, he's already said he's done in North Carolina. Done. Take a short break. When we get back, Lara Trump actually considered running in North Carolina for that Tillis seat. We'll talk to the president's lovely daughter-in-law, our good friend Lara Trump. She's coming up next on the Wednesday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
See what Lara Trump started? That was the legend KT McFarland, who's worked for 4 presidents, including her father-in-law, President Trump. She's on Fox News all the time. She's on this show every Friday, and now she comes on every week and talks about me running. And Rachel Campos texted me last night, please come into Fox and Friends one of these weekends and announce you're going to run. So it all started with Laura, and now I'm getting Bruce Blakeman, Mike Lawler. The names keep coming in. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but, you know, the more impressive people that ask me to do it, the more I have to think about it. Now, I'm not sure President Trump, I'm going to see on Friday, will say it yet because he's still supporting, I guess, Mamdani. I have a feeling if I had a one-on-one with President Trump, he wouldn't be all that nice, but that's fine. But it seems like everybody else wants me to do it. So you started this big mess, Laura. Thank you very much.
Was I the catalyst for this? I'm so honored. Wow, what a thing to say. That's amazing. I think it's funny you say that he's like on Team Mamdani. No, Donald Trump is on Team New York. And unfortunately, we've got a communist right now who's in charge of New York City. So whoever it is, this president wants them to be successful for New York City. So he's trying to do his best to bridge the gap between the full-blown crazies on the left and obviously the common sense that Donald Trump brings to the equation. Now, if we had a Sid Rosenberg as mayor, I'm just throwing it out. I think it would be a great thing. So maybe we can get around two of people coming out of the woodwork to say they would love to see it as well. But I'm still here for it. I'm still on Team Sid Rosenberg.
That's all I need. If you're here, Laura, I'm in really good shape. And I know your father-in-law. I know what he's doing. And, you know, look, he's been great. He's going to be here, you know. I'm going to see him again on Friday night. He's coming in to support Mike Lawler in Rockland County. So the president will be here in New York on Friday. But, man, The last couple of weeks, I got people out there that telling me, Trump lost his touch and Americans are fed up with Israel and they're fed up with Iran and they're fed up with high prices. Wait a second. Indiana, all the people that Trump supported won easily. Bill Cassidy in Louisiana, his career's over as of last week. And Kentucky, forget about Mitch McConnell, Tom Massie, he lost by 10 points. By 10 points. It is clear what we've seen the last couple of weeks that MAGA, and specifically the great President Donald J. Trump, is alive and well.
So, well, first of all, with Tom Massie, by the way, don't kid yourself. He was using outside groups to surreptitiously have them insinuate to Kentucky voters that somehow he had the support of President Trump because he knows how powerful President Trump's endorsement and touch is on anything. So while he's a Trump hater who obviously had to go, he was still trying to leverage some sort of a relationship that didn't even exist with President Trump with these outside groups the whole time, and he still lost. The thing he said about Iran, about Israel, I think is important to address because we also have to talk about the people, the podcasters, the people who at one time said were friendly with the president, who had a huge audience of people who really flocked to them for their opinions and their thoughts, who now have seemed to kind of go off the rails. And the kind of crazy stuff that these people, and I won't call out any names, but I think your audience probably understands who I'm talking about. The things that these people are trying to insinuate about the president are completely insane and ridiculous. This president is America first, period, end of story, all day, every day. The reason that he had to go into Iran, we already know. Every other president kicked the can down the road. They didn't address the fact that, Iran was developing a nuclear weapon. We were on the verge of seeing that happen and become a reality. He had to deal with it. Israel, you know what? You can say all you want about whether or not Donald Trump is controlled by Israel. Donald Trump is controlled by the American voters and his conscience. And our closest Middle Eastern ally, Israel, has just been in the thick of it for far too long. We had to step in, we had to do things, and we have to continue to support them. Anyone who believes what these crazy podcasters are saying out there needs to take a step back and come back to reality. This president is doing everything possible to win for America. And I think one of the most important things to remember about this man, the day before he went down that golden escalator, he told all of us in the family, if I only get one term in office, but I do the right things, it will be worth it. He's doing the right things. He knows that sometimes it is politically disadvantageous for him to do so, but he does it anyway because it's right, and that's what we all need to remember.
Well said, all of it. I'm not going to say the names either because I say them all the time on this show, and I say them all the time when I speak publicly, whether it's for the Republican Jewish Coalition in Las Vegas or even in Hewlett, Long Island last night. I mention these people all the time, and they got to be making money. There's no other way to explain. I'll mention one, Tucker. He's a smart guy. I used to watch him religiously. I never missed his monologue on Fox News. I thought he was great. And he is completely insane at this point. He's got to be making money. There's no other way somebody can say the hateful, stupid things that he says. Say what you want about President Trump. To think that anybody can control President Trump, from Bibi Netanyahu, that Israel controls him and Bibi controls him, it is so ridiculous. And people like Tucker are probably making a lot of money from Qatar. Who knows who else out there? I don't know. They spew this, and there's a big audience out there that gobbles it up because, as you know, the new rage, the new chic thing in America, in Europe, in the world today is anti-Semitism. It's great. It's great. They come out in thousands.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying stuff. And you know what? The problem with what these people are doing, too, is they aren't just trying to divide our country as a whole, which I think is awful. They're also trying to divide conservatives. And think about how powerful we have been able to be as a movement, the Make America Great Again movement. Look at the results in the 2024 election. The fact that you had Donald Trump to win all 7 swing states, the fact that Donald Trump not only won the Electoral College votes, but he won the popular vote as a Republican for the first time in 20 years. When we stick together, when we work together, and when we are all focused on the same end goal, guess what? Conservatives and Republicans win. And we have to be together as we head towards these midterm elections because, Sid, the kind of crazy stuff these Democrats have been very clear they want to do to our country is absolutely terrifying. They want to pack the Supreme Court and expand it. They want to grant D.C. and Puerto Rico statehood so that they in perpetuity have power in Washington, D.C. They don't fight fair. They are sore losers. And the fact is they're not willing to change their crazy policies. They just want to manipulate the system so that it continues to work for them. That is going to be so damaging to our country. So whoever it is out there that people might be tuning into with these crazy ideas, stop listening to them. Realize that we have to stick together and we have to put a united front on, make it too big to rig once again as we're going to the midterm elections, because it's really, really important. We want 4 years of Donald Trump with the ability to do incredible things like we've already seen him do, but he doesn't get that if the Democrats gain the majority in the House and the Senate. We can't have it.
Not going to happen. I'm starting to feel so confident, which I hate when I'm like that. You know me, I get nervous, but I really am starting to feel very, very confident that I have a message. I saw this moron, Chris Van Hollen, out of Maryland. He's a guy that goes to visit, like gang members in jails in El Salvador.
With them, yeah.
Yeah, that moron. He was talking about all this momentum the Democrats had a couple of days ago. I'm trying to figure out, like what? What momentum? But I do have to tell you this. You look beautiful. Eric looked great, too. You guys walked out first, and then your father-in-law and President Xi came out right after you two. So you guys must have spent some quality time in the green room at that state banquet in Beijing, China. So tell me, how were those couple of days in China? What did you think about what your father-in-law did? And what do you think the future is between America and China?
Well, I don't think anyone went into this naively. Let's be clear. China has been an adversary of ours for a long time. China wants to be the superpower of the world. They want to usurp the United States. However, with that said, I think that anytime you can take an adversary and make them more friendly, that's always a good thing. Sometimes they say, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. We've all heard that terminology. Donald Trump is incredibly smart when it comes to these things. So he wants to be on friendly terms with China, with President Xi. And you've seen that, kind of translate over from his first term as well. I'll tell you, to be there, Sid, was incredible. It was such a historic visit, I think. Eric and I, every second of it, were kind of pinching ourselves that we had the ability to witness this sort of thing firsthand. But you saw a lot of good come out of it. You saw a lot of trade agreements come out of it. We have China saying they're going to buy 200 at least Boeing aircraft. You had all these CEOs who went over with the president, some of them, Elon Musk, Jensen from NVIDIA was on the plane with us on the way over. But you had a whole room of some of the most powerful business leaders in the country going over and talking directly to the president of China and making it clear that we want them to start taking more American goods. We want to level the playing field. That was a really powerful move. So obviously we had some positive trade movement come out of that entire trip. But I think more so than anything, just kind of reestablishing a more positive relationship with China. That's always a good thing for the United States. 100%. And I thought that, look, the pomp and circumstance, all of it, very different from what you saw several years ago when Obama went over, when you had Biden go over. Very different scenarios. They very clearly respect President Donald Trump.
Oh, not even close. They gave them nothing. Putin is there now, and he didn't get nearly as much as Donald J. Trump did either. The most important question is not whether or not, Lara Trump, the Chinese are going to buy oil from us moving forward, which they will, which is really exciting. It is the Chinese food better in China or Chinese food on Canal Street in America?
I'll be really honest. I'm going to have to go Canal Street in New York City.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's you go to different places, it's different. I mean, I would say the same thing with sushi. When Eric and I were in Tokyo not too long ago, we were all hyped up about the sushi. And we were kind of like, I don't know. I feel like sushi in New York might be a little bit better. It's just what you get used to.
No, you're right.
So, look, it's an experience. We certainly, I can tell you, we're happy to get back to the greatest country on earth, the United States of America, when we were wheels down here. No doubt about it.
I felt the same way about Italy. I've been there, and I love it. I love it there, and the food's good. But, I'll take a bunch of Italian restaurants in Brooklyn.
We're so American, Sid, and we shouldn't apologize for it.
I know.
That's okay.
I am the ugly American. I'm that guy. Like, my wife always wants to travel to this place and that place. I go, just spend the money here. Let's go to Jersey or Vegas. Why don't I go to Europe for. Those people are terrible people. They hate us. So you're right. I am American all the way, and I don't think there's a country even close to our country. I got to tell you, last week I get a call from Dr. Oz's people, and he's been in here before, comes back in on Friday, and he's done a tremendous job, as you know, Laura, like my friend Anthony D'Esposito is doing, uncovering billions in fraud with the Labor Department. Lee Zeldin has done it with the EPA. Here comes Dr. Oz with Medicare and Medicaid and other spots. He's doing a tremendous job, and you just spoke about that a couple days ago, didn't you?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. I mean, Dr. Oz is great. I love the fact that this is a man who kind of took a step back from all the notoriety. He's a little bit like the president in that, you know, everybody loved Donald Trump before he decided to run as a Republican. I would say the same thing about Dr. Oz. And then he said, you know what, I'm going to, you know, obviously he ran for office and now he's part of this administration. He's doing a heck of a job. And the crazy thing is he gave me this statistic, and I think it blows everyone's mind when they hear it. The number one job in New York, if you have to look at it, people are like, oh, Wall Street, this, that, and the other. No, it is a home health aide. Why is that, Sid? People have been ripping off taxpayers by saying they're a home health aide. So what does that mean? That means that if I decide I want to make a little extra cash from the government, I can say, I'm going to be Sid Rosenberg's home health aide. I'm your friend. I check in on you and make sure you're doing okay all the time. The government pays me a lot of money. It's just a scam. And for so long, it's been going on. And now we have Dr. Oz in there. We have, obviously, Bobby Kennedy. We have all of our folks in this administration who are cracking down on fraud, like the vice president and his task force as well. And they're finding billions of dollars of money that have just been flushed down the toilet that we aren't even paying attention to, that no one even thought to check on until this president came in office. So Dr. Oz is making sure that the money is going to the people who actually need it. People are not getting ripped off anymore. And you know what? Go out and get a job, folks. Don't sit around. It feels good, by the way, Sid, to do put in a hard day's work. Yep. You know that. I know that. Believe me, this president knows that. But we got to get America back up and running, and we've got to be the country of ingenuity and people creating things and going back and working hard for what we want. We're not paying people to sit home anymore and be, quote unquote, home health aides. It's absolutely insane, and we're stopping it with this administration.
God bless. That's right. Whether it's Minnesota with all these centers for autism, nobody there.
The Leering centers.
Yes. You know. And then L.A. has all these hospice centers. There's nobody there. There's nobody there. So listen, we'll wrap it up like this. We started the conversation with readdressing my potential run for mayor. Now we're getting rid of all the cancers, right? Goodbye, Massie. He's gone. Goodbye, Cassidy. He's gone. Marjorie Taylor Greene did us a favor. She took a ball and went home. We got to get rid of people like Lauren Boebert, too, and others. One guy we got to get rid of, I know he said he's leaving anyway, is Tom Tillis. He's leaving anyway in North Carolina. But are you considering maybe, now that he is leaving Tillis, maybe running again for something, maybe in your home state of North Carolina? Or are you right now very happy doing your great show, 9 p.m., Fox News, Saturday nights, My View, raising those two beautiful kids, Luke and Caroline? You're okay with that, or you are going to consider maybe running for office again?
And I'm looking at my newest foster dog as we're speaking about this. So I've got some things going on here. Listen, I'm so happy with what I'm doing right now, but I think that I would give the answer that President Trump gave probably 30 years ago, which is that I don't think any of us in our family would ever rule it out. You know, if we ever got to a place where we felt like we can make a difference and it was a calling for us, you know, I pray about everything, Sid, and if God calls me to serve in some sort of way, absolutely, I would do it. But I think right now we're all very happy with what's going on, except maybe Eric Trump, who was mad that I brought home yet another dog, although he knew exactly what he was getting into with this. Let's be very clear.
How many do you have now?
We had 3. We lost one of them a couple months ago,
sorry.
Our oldest dog. And so
Yeah.
I went out with my daughter to the shelter, and look, I came back with a third one. So we'll see what happens. She's only a foster, though. Make sure Eric Trump understands. She's only a foster, although we have 2 foster failures, which means they became permanent dogs. So we'll see what happens with the third one.
I
we'll
love
let
it.
You know.
I love it. I think it's all great, and I'm glad you're enjoying yourself right now. But I've said this to you before, not to patronize you. I really do mean this. That outside your father-in-law, maybe even including your father-in-law, you're the next Trump that should serve. You're that good. Yeah.
Wow,
and I love Eric, and I like Don Jr. I like them all. They're great. They're all great. You're the next great one. It's you.
Well,
you know.
Coming from a great one yourself, my friend.
Thank you, love.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you on, as always. You're great to me. You're great on this show. New York loves you. And congratulations to your father-in-law, and we will talk to you again next week. I love you, Lara Trump. Thank you so much.
You are the best. You got it. Thanks, Sid.
Take care, sweetheart. Lara Trump right there, making her weekly appearance on Sid and Friends in the morning. She's terrific. She really is. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and talk to the former great congressman out there on Long Island. I always say this, Rudy Giuliani, Peter King, Rudy Giuliani. I don't care what order you want to put it in. Peter King is one of the two best politicians in my lifetime, and I'm old. I've been around now for 59 years. That's how great Peter King was, and he's still great on this show every Wednesday. Peter King is next.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Everybody loves Lara Trump. Of course they do. You know, I still mess up her name. I call her Lara. I call her Laura. People are like, Sid, her name is Laura. Shut up. You talk to her 3 times a week like I do? No, you don't. I've been calling her Lara for years. Her name is spelled Lara. There's no U in there. Just because. It was like, remember Anthony Hardaway? His mama wanted to name him Anthony Hardaway, but she said his name, she said Anthony. I swear to God. So on his birth certificate in the hospital, they named him Anthony, Anfernee, even though she wanted to name him Anthony. Did you know that, no?
I did not know that.
That's right.
So which one is it with Trump? Is it Lara or is it Laura?
I call her both, and she's never complained once about anything I've called her. She loves me. You know, as Lara Trump often says, we're in the same building at the same time. Is Sid going to speak tonight, being he is Lara's second husband? I remember the first time I was at one of Trump's courses in Westchester, I think. Lawler was there. In fact, I'll be with Lawler and President Trump on Friday night here in New York. And Danielle looked at me like, what did he just say? Danielle knows them both well now, and they're both great. But she really is terrific. I mean what I say. I really believe, outside of the president, that she's the next Trump. I know Junior has design set on running for president one day, and maybe 28. I don't know. I know he wants to do it. I don't think Eric has any desire to work in politics. He runs the business. You know, it's a big business. Billions and billions of dollars. All of it, Eric Trump. But I think Junior would like to do it. I'm not sure about the rest of the kids. But just my opinion, and I'm pretty smart, I think Lara is the most ready after the president. But we're going to see. You know who would know that? Peter King. I mean, here's a guy with like 40 years of being a great politician, so he has better instincts than me. What do you think, Pete? You think of all the Trumps, once the president is done, that Lara is got the most potential to be the next great Trump politician? What do you think?
She certainly is. President, great to be with you. Now, she has great talent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. A show on Fox is doing well. She handles herself well. She's able to put up with you and make believe she likes you. So she has all the skills that are needed, you know?
I've actually asked her once or twice if she's making believe. She said, no way. She says, you're the best. All right, so we've had a couple of great days. Pete King in Congress and all these anti-Trump backstabbers that for some reason, I don't know why, they think crapping all over Israel is going to help them. It's making some of these podcasters money. It's great for Tucker and great for Megyn Kelly. But we're starting to see now, state after state after state, when you stab Trump in the back, when you pull that anti-Israel garbage, blame Israel for everything, when you yell and scream about the war, when you do all these things, you lose. And sometimes, as a pretty big favorite, you lose badly. So as I've said all morning long, Peter King, based on the most recent results in 3 or 4 different states, MAGA is alive and well. Yes?
There's no doubt within the Republican Party, Donald Trump has the support. And I think as far as Israel being an issue, that is something on the far left, which unfortunately too many politicians have felt it's an easy way to, as you said, make money on their podcast. but also others have lost their nerve. Certainly the Democratic Party, a lot of Democrats who have traditionally been pro-Israel are now backing away. They're afraid of that left wing. And then Republicans, some of them on the fringes, like the Marjorie Taylor Greene types, Thomas Massie last night, they falling into this thing that somehow that's capturing the country. It's not. Most Americans, when it comes time to vote, realize that Israel is our closest ally in the Middle East. The Middle East is right now the center of the world as far as future violence and trouble. And if we didn't have Israel on our side, forgetting the fact, listen, I always said in my first 10 years in Congress, I had many Jewish voters in my district. My last 18 years, I had virtually none, the way the lines were drawn. I was as strong for Israel in the final 18 as I was in the first 10, not just for any feelings I have for Israel, and I've been there a number of times, but the main thing was we need Israel. It's in America's national interest. And whether or not it was a Jewish state, Arab state, no matter what it was, Israel is absolutely essential to us. They have been with us. They've always been with us, going back to all of their prime ministers. There's been some ups and downs, but there's never any wavering in the strong relationship between us. The fact that we do have obligations because of the Holocaust, that is absolutely essential also. But nothing is more important from an American point of view than Israel is such a strong and definite ally. And I can tell you from being in Congress in those years, being in the Homeland Security Committee, being on the Intelligence Committee, the intelligence that Israel shares with us and we share with them, they are indispensable to American foreign policy.
Trump told me on this show not that long ago, he said, Sid, 15 years ago, the strongest lobby was Israel. 15. He said, you would never, ever, ever hear a bunch of politicians come out against Israel. He actually said to me at the time, this is going back 2 Julys ago, he goes, now they all do, the whole Democrat Party. You know, Republicans more on the podcast side than politicians, although we've got, Thomas Massie, he lost, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, she would have lost. She went home. And if I was Rand Paul, I'd be very nervous this morning. If I was Lauren Boebert, I'd be very nervous this morning. I think all these people that have decided to go against Trump, whether it's the Israel or the Iran or any one of these policies, are going to find out very, very quickly that, no, the nation, the country is not siding with you. We are not a country of anti-Semites and conspiracy theorists. We're not. Because if we were, then Massie would have won last night. When he said afterwards, we are starting something big here. The country is yearning for this. Could you sound dumber? You just lost by 10 points. If the country was yearning for this, you would have won. Isn't that pretty easy to figure out, Pete?
Especially in Massie's district. There's other districts which are in Democratic areas, but as far as Massie, that is one of the most pro-Republican districts in the country. If he couldn't win there, he couldn't win anywhere. I mean, that is, apart from the fact that he's been there for 14 years. By the way, I have different feelings toward Thomas Massie over the years. I used to sort of respect him. I didn't agree with him much, but he was a very decent guy, a libertarian. The last few years, that whole thing with Epstein, what started that? I don't know. Listen, I agree with you that terrible things happened with Epstein, but to somehow imply that the president was covering up, the president was involved, and identifying with the left wing of the Democratic Party on that was totally off the charts. And then this whole thing with Israel, listen, I understand him. He's a bit of an isolationist, etc. But to be talking about Israel controlling our foreign policy, Israel having an influence, if there's anything, all the things you can say about Donald Trump, some good, some bad, whatever, no one's going to control him. I mean, whether it's Bibi Netanyahu, it doesn't matter who it is, Donald Trump is his own man. And there's been any number of times in the first term and in this term where he and Bibi Netanyahu have had disagreements behind the scenes. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm sure there's things Netanyahu wanted to do that Donald Trump would not go along with. This Donald Trump is calling the shots in Iran. For better or for worse, and I support his policies in Iran. There was a Donald Trump's policies. Netanyahu is a strong ally with us, but the man calling the shots, the man who is in charge is Donald Trump. And for people to imply this was where we go beyond an honest disagreement that people have with Israel on certain issues. This is where it comes over into anti-Semitism.
100%.
The whole thing, the Jews control Hollywood, the Jews control the banks, and now they control American foreign policy because Bibi Netanyahu has a hold on Donald Trump. That is absolute nonsense, and that's where you've crossed the line into anti-Semitism.
Reed, you just said that perfectly. That's right. It's not about policy differences. These people always expose themselves eventually. I'm going to play this quickly, and then we'll move to Mamdani. This is Massie last night. He just lost. He was a big favorite. He lost by nearly double digits because, part of the reason, his rhetoric on Israel. And yet, here he is on stage about to concede, and the moron said this. Cut number 3.
Listen, I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv.
You believe that? To find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv, you just lost because of stupidity like that. I guess it doesn't matter. All right, let's get to New York City. Mamdani, that Nakba day that we went through last week when he rewrote history. I mean, Israel in 1947 agreed to split the land. They agreed to split it. And then 5 Arab nations, 5 of them, and Egypt and Syria and Jordan, they decided in 1948, we want the land, we want all of it, not good enough. We're going to kill all the Jews and take it. So they started the war, and we won. We always win. So what happened? These Palestinians, they were actually, looking for a place to live because of their own people. It had nothing to do with Israel. We agreed to split the land in 1947, and this anti-Semite, this horrible mayor, rewrote history with this Nakba Day nonsense a couple of days ago. That'll bother you, no?
Absolutely. First of all, Israel, in those original lines, was much, much smaller than it is now. I mean, the fact is they were given a small area of land, and they accepted it, and they wanted to work with the Arab neighbors, and you're right, they invaded them, as they invaded them in 1967, as they did in 1973. We go through all of this, and of course we saw what happened in 2023. So no, it's historically it's been Israel has been the one looking for peace, looking for settlement, and yet the Arab nations now, most of the Arab nations, quite frankly, and this is partly because of Donald Trump's diplomacy, most of the Arab nations either publicly or privately stand with Israel, support Israel, and it's the Palestinian radicals that are opposed. Iran has latched on to that, but no, Israel is the one, again, from the start. They were more than satisfied with the land allocated to them, which is nowhere near the size it is now. The reason it's expanded is because they were taking land to defend themselves from the attacks that were being made. I mean, the Arabs, I guess it was the Israeli leader, Abu Ibn, who said that basically the Palestinians never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. And that's what this has been about over the years. There were so many chances for peace. Sadat finally grabbed it. Jordan has grabbed it. The Saudis, I think, wanted to grab it, which is why I think Iran launched the attack on back in October 2023.
So last night I made my way to Hewlett, lovely place on Long Island. Your place, Long Island, for Dove and Shani hiking. They've got this great organization, a Toret Kohanim, where they actually are buying land in the old city in Jerusalem and making sure that Jewish people are moving back. Because as you know, even though Israel won all those wars, a lot of the Jews did leave, were forced to leave the old city, and they're still not back. So Ataret Kohanim with Moti Dan and Dan Laurie and the Hikins, they do a great job with that. So I went to this event last night. I go every year. They played a nice recording on the big screen from Bruce Blakeman, because Bruce couldn't be there last night because he was at a big GOP dinner, which I was invited to, too, here in New York City with Ron DeSantis and a bunch of others. I wasn't there, but I was told by people there that Bruce Blakeman was amazing last night. What did you see or hear?
Oh, Bruce is phenomenal. By the way, Janine Driscoll is the new member of Congress from that area, and I thought she was great on your show yesterday.
He was.
Sorry how things have changed. And Bruce is doing a great job. And Joe Benigno said before that the polls show Bruce isn't doing well. Actually, when you analyze the polls, first of all, like the Siena poll always polls more Democrats than Republicans. But apart from all that, even in that poll, Kathy Hochul's favorable numbers are 46%, under 50. I mean, after 5 years in office, more than half the state does not have a good opinion of her. And the unwritten rule in politics is that if you are an incumbent and you're under 50%, you can lose. The odds are you can lose, and Bruce is tapping into that. He's going everywhere. This guy is doing everything that can be done. If anyone can cut into that and grab that extra those votes that are right now undecided or are not willing to support Kathy Hochul, Bruce can do it. And Bruce is the real deal. He's the real deal in every respect. I've known him for 30, 40 years. My daughter worked closely with him when they were on the Hempstead Town Board together. Bruce is Bruce. He goes his own way in an independent way. That independent way, to me, always ends up being the right way. And, you mentioned Eula. It's really interesting. First time I ran for office, and I'm dating myself, 1977, and then councilman ran town-wide. So he had the whole 850,000 people, including the 5 towns. And Joe Margiotto, our county chairman, was saying to guys like me, stay out of the 5 towns. They're going to kill us. They were like 90% Democrat.
Yeah.
I mean, they were overwhelmingly Democrat. Now, I think it was the last election, there was some election district in, I think it was in Eula or Woodmere, where the Republican won like 110-2.
Yeah.
I mean, this is unbelievable.
You can thank for that the Jews. It's all the Republican Jews that moved there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been such a change. And also many people, and again, I'm not speaking for Jews, but in the Jewish community, so many of them who traditionally just went down the line and voted Democrat realize that now the Democratic Party is not standing with Israel, does not stand with the basic Judeo-Christian principles. And so more and more in the Jewish community, not just the Orthodox, but others, are really starting to vote Republican, consider Republicans. And if anyone can tap into that, it's Bruce Blakeman.
Agreed. Now, more and more in common sense places like York County, they're doing that. But you get the Jews here in New York City, they're still idiots. They're my people. I love them, but they're idiots. They'll never vote the other way. You get Jews in Brooklyn. I mean, I got to wrap this up, but a couple nights ago, Mayor Mamdani, who hates the Jews, I'll say it again, he hates the Jews. He celebrated Shavuot, a big Jewish holiday, at Gracie Mansion, and Jews showed up. Now, the number was not as big as Mamdani would have liked or his supporters would tell you. So I'm going to give my people some credit, but there were Jews there. A couple of Satmar rabbis, not to single out the Satmars, but 2 rabbis in particular. So, there's still plenty of Jews here in New York especially that can't seem to figure out the obvious, which is the Republican Party cares about us, looks to protect us. The Democrats want us dead. Bottom line, Pete.
I think too many people, probably Jews more than others, but even others in the business community, somehow think that Mamdani is going to end up doing the right thing. And right now, he's just learning how to do the job. He's making some mistakes, but we can count on him. No, he knows what he's doing. This guy is good. He's good as far as getting his job done. His job is to change New York City into a socialist haven, to go against the basic values that Jews and Christians have had over the years. He's not pro-American. He's anti-cop. He's anti-middle class, and everything about him. But he knows what he's doing. We got to forget this thing that somehow he won on a fluke, or they stole votes, or that he's learning. No, he knew exactly what he was doing. His campaign was brilliant.
Yep.
He's a smart guy, and unfortunately, those brains are being used against what you and I and the majority of New Yorkers should believe in.
Pete King is always an amazing segment. You're so good on Wednesdays. I love you. That was really, really great. Thank you so much. And we'll do it again next week. Have a great week. Thank you, buddy.
You got it, Sid.
What a great job right there. The former congressman. He really is terrific. We discuss everything on this show. Our good friend Peter King. We got the news coming up with Nomi. I wasn't in a major motion picture. I give John Catsimatidis a lot of credit. I do. He was terrific. He was great. He was great in the movie with Timothy Chalamet. He was great. So I'm in a TV series, of course. I've been doing it for years. And I get stopped in the street, I'd say at least once a week. They ask about the TV series. Obviously, the overwhelming majority of people in this city and across the country love me for this radio show. But there are many, many people that watch Gravesend on Amazon Prime. And I get stopped every week, and they go, hey, when's season 3 coming out? And I say, call Willie DeMeo. I don't know. But I'm in it. I was in 6 episodes in season 2. I had the fortunate opportunity to work with somebody like Andrew Dice Clay and Willie and Chaz and Peter and Chris. And season 3 is coming out. I shot a couple of great scenes with, believe it or not, Shaquille O'Neal. So we got a big preview party coming up on June the 10th out on Long Island, and a lot of folks are going to be there. So Woody's going to stop by the studios late this hour, right after Noam with the news, as we wrap up the Wednesday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Late great Joe Cocker He would have been 82 years old today. Leave your hat on. It is bad luck, right, guys, to, for some reason, leave a hat on a bed. I remember there's a movie with Matt Dillon, I want to say, and he was like breaking into pharmacies, and there's a drug addict and stealing drugs. And
Drugstore Cowboy, is that it?
That was it. Very good. Drugstore Cowboy. Yes. And one scene, somebody left a hat on the bed. And Dillon was like, "What are you doing? Move that hat." And the girl was like, "Will you stop it?" She was dead the next scene, just so you know. She OD'd. But is that a thing? Leave a hat on a bed? That's bad luck?
I've heard that. I think it goes back to the Western days back out west, that people were afraid if you left a hat on their bed that you may give them lice, because that was, lice was a problem. Yeah. I don't know. I could look it up. I'm not positive.
My sister had that once. My sister came out from school one time and, oh my God, that'll like shave half her head. It was a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
She's a little kid.
No, that's not.
These white little buggies. Terrible.
No.
Terrible. I don't wear hats, so I don't know. I put on a hat one time in front of Lewis, and he laughed at me for 15 minutes.
Ernie, Sid's got to get that hat off. That is a terrible, terrible look.
Well, somebody made the point. It may have been Alec. He was here that day, I guess. That bald guys don't look good with hats.
Well, caps, you do not.
No, right. Bald guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Did you make that point? Maybe it was you.
I did. I said right away,
Yeah.
I went,
Yeah.
where did you,
Yeah.
why are you, and I never do that.
Well, no, I didn't put it on. You guys put it on me. You have to understand.
I got it.
I get Yankee hats to my house. I get Met hats to my house. Knicks, Giants. Have you ever seen me wear a hat? Ever?
No.
Never.
Until that,
it looks terrible.
Yeah, that morning.
So that morning, I brought it here for somebody else, and jokingly, I put it on. And you guys are like, no. Take that off.
To reach into my pocket and give you some money. I didn't know it was actually you.
It's not a good look for me. Not a good look.
That's just not.
No. Well, you wear hats, no? You're bald.
Yeah, I'll put a baseball cap when I'm outside, just because my bald head needs to be covered. I know you like to get a tan. I don't. So.
Yeah, no. I don't put anything on my head. I do put 50, which is sunscreen. I think my wife last weekend. She said, "We're going to the beach. You want an umbrella?" I said, "What kind of question is that? We're going to be married 34 years in June. Of course not." I never understand when people go to the beach. They get an umbrella, they wear a hat, they wear sunglasses, and they wear like 100. Just stay home. What are you wasting your time for?
Well, there's actually other things going on besides.
Like what? Staring at the ocean?
Yes.
We can go into the ocean, too.
They don't even go in. They sit underneath this tent. Again, they got the hat, the sunglasses, they're wearing 100. Some of them are wearing sweatpants. It's 85 degrees. I don't get it. I don't know.
That's ridiculous. But to sit at the water is nice.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't do it for that. I do it to get tan.
Do you see those people that have like the long flaps? They wear the hats, and then they have like a flap that goes over their ears. They don't want like any part of their body to get
touch the sun. I know.
And they have long sleeves, and it's 87 degrees outside.
Some people just are allergic to the sun. All kidding aside, they get sick. It's terrible. Like Bernard, for example, my former great partner, Bernard McGurk, he could not be in the sun. Any exposure, who else is like that? The former great Major League pitcher for the Phillies and the Diamondbacks and the Red Sox, Curt Schilling. And he had cancer. But some people just can't. Bill O'Reilly's like that. Just can't be in this. Mostly Irish. So I've come to find in my 59 years that the Irish like to drink and they can't go in the sun. So if you really want to get your friend back, and he's Irish, take away his beer and tie him up outside in the backyard for about 4 hours.
Oh yeah, I was at a bachelor party going into a golf course, 10 a.m. a number of years ago, and I walk through, and I see two friends, and they're Irish, and I see two beers in their hands. I'm like, "What, Chris? What are you doing, dude? You're gonna go out on the golf course. It is 85 degrees. You're going to be dead by the fourth hole. The sun is going to just permeate and eviscerate.
Yeah. And what happened?
And, a couple of them were throwing up on the course. That's an Irish bachelor party on the golf course, that's for sure. I mean, I can't even. I'm getting sick looking at you, man. You can't have a beer at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning going on the golf course.
No, you can't do that.
Give yourself a couple of holes, okay?
Right. Then start chugging down those Bloody Marys.
Jeez, if I'm giving you the advice, you got a world of issues.
You're in big trouble.
Yeah.
All right, Lewis, play cut number 2. This has been an ongoing theme throughout today's show, which has mostly been a celebration that the anti-Semite, anti-American, backstabbing Trump, Thomas Massie, not only lost but got humiliated, lost by nearly 10 points in Kentucky. MAGA is alive and well. It's been proven in Louisiana, Indiana, Kentucky. All you folks out there that think the world is waking up to anti-Semitic, you're wrong. You're wrong. President Trump is maybe stronger than ever. In all these cities and all these states, all the anti-Trumpers are either quitting, right, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or they're getting fired. Right, Thomas Massie, like I said, Rand Paul will be next. Lauren Boebert, she's going to be gone too. Keep doing it. That's fine. So we've been celebrating that all morning. We got a guy who's a Navy SEAL who's actually pro-Israel, pro-America, loves President Trump, Eddie Galrain, in position to win that seat. But the other item we've been celebrating all morning long is this one.
Brunson with Harden on him. Brunson on the drive. The floater, bank shot. It's good. Tie game again with 19 seconds remaining. Merrill, three-pointer. In and out. That one halfway down. Bridges fires away. Won't go when we go to overtime. Harden now picks up Brunson. Brunson brilliant in that fourth quarter. Drives, gets past Harden, gets inside. The floater's up and good. Jalen Brunson once again, and it's a 4-point Knicks lead. Of history, both conference finals game 1 go to OT. And the fans dancing with joy. They have watched one of the greatest comebacks in NBA playoff history. Down 22 with 7.5 to go. Knicks take game 1 behind the brilliance of Jalen Brunson. Over the last 12 minutes, final 7 minutes of regulation and the 5 minutes of overtime, Knicks outscore the Cavs 44-11.
44-11, the Hall of Fame voice Mike Breen on the call, and the Knicks have now won 8 consecutive playoff games, taking the last 3 in their 6-game win over Atlanta, all 4 from Philadelphia, game 1 from Cleveland. 8 straight wins for the Knicks, and they get set to host Cleveland tomorrow night for a game 2 with just an incredible amount of momentum. And all the guys that we bring on big sports guys here. Joe Benigno was here earlier today. He's been on the fan for 30 years. He's a legend. It was a huge Saturday show, but part of the real fabric of WFAN. Been a Knicks fan his whole life. He was there. He's in his 70s. He remembers those Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, Earl Monroe, Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley. He remembers those teams very, very well. And he said to me just this morning that he believes this Knickerbocker team has the mettle, that's M-E-T-T-L-E, folks, has the mettle of those teams that won championships in 69 and 73. And he said it's not good enough for the Knicks to just beat Cleveland and advance to the NBA Finals. He says if the Knicks don't beat Oklahoma City or San Antonio, that series is 1-0 Spurs, game 2 in Oklahoma City later on tonight. That'll be a huge disappointment. That getting to the finals like the Knicks did in 99 when Ewing lost to San Antonio, like they did in 94 when Ewing lost to Houston. Not that Ewing lost, the poor guy. He had no talent around him, not much at least. Not good enough. He thinks his team should win the whole thing. And, you know, you've been kind of shaking your head, Lewis, in agreement. You agree with that, huh?
Of course I agree with him.
You expect the Knicks to win the whole thing.
I'm not even looking at the matchups and not even looking
Doesn't
at
matter. You got it. That's
I'm
it.
just thinking the way they're playing, and you've now seen them destroy Philadelphia. They weren't even in that series.
No.
They're a good team.
Yep.
They just, the way they're playing, they look unstoppable.
That's true.
All there is
no,
to
that's
it.
true. They've been far and away the most dominant playoff team.
Unstoppable. And they're one Josh Hart doesn't play well last night. Look who comes in. You know, Landry Shamet comes in
with a big 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
2 big 3s.
That's how you have to play when you want to and you want to beat San Antonio or Oklahoma City. That's how they're going to play.
They're
That's
deep.
How they have to.
They're deep. Mike
right?
Brown is playing like 9 guys. 10 in certain spots. To your point, Lou.
It's the way they're playing.
They're playing great. Oklahoma City was undefeated. They are the reigning champs, so they're automatically the favorites. And they were undefeated in these playoffs until they got beat at home in overtime by the Spurs in Game 1. So they've lost their last outing. So there's been no team right now as dominant as the Knicks that are still alive.
I'm sorry. And to get back there next year again, if they don't win, it's rough. It's tough to get here.
Yeah.
So they clearly look on a road to winning the whole thing.
Championship or bust for the New York Knicks, who, of course, have not won a championship since 1973. We'll take a short break. Willie DeMeo is going to stop by. Gravesend Season 3 about to come out in September. There's so many people who work in New York that ended up on this show. Just, Willie's good like that. He goes, he travels, he goes, hey, come on my show. And every time I mention Gravesend, somebody texts me and goes, hey, I'm in that too. This is my second season. I was not in Season 1, but I had a pretty nice role in Season 2 and have a nice role again in Season 3. I did miss a couple of tapings. I was supposed to actually kill somebody. I missed out on it. That sucks. Remember Lou how upset I was that day?
I remember.
Oh,
yes. Oh yeah.
Supposed to beat the guy to death, literally beat the guy to death with a bat, and I couldn't make it that day. That's all I want to do. I want to do that in real life.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not. It's a race. What are we going to do in the movie or in real life?
So he's going to stop by, and we've got more before I hand it off to Brian Kilmeade coming up in about 30 minutes.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So I told you this story years ago that my friend Larry Miljan, you don't know who he is, and don't worry about it, it's fine. He was a kid I met down in Miami, a local radio guy, and he called me one day. I was standing outside of Madison Square Garden. I was relatively new to New York City at the time, back in 2016. And he said, hey, Sid, you're a Brooklyn guy. Have you seen the show Gravesend? I said, no, I haven't seen it. William DeMeo? I said, no. I had just gotten back to New York. I wasn't aware. I lived in Boca Raton all those years. He said, you love the show. I said, okay. So he put William in touch with me. And I was not in Season 1, but I loved the show. I loved it. Music, the scenery. I grew up in Brooklyn. So that's my hood, And I loved it. And then when I met William and we talked more, he said, you're a Brooklyn guy. You got the look. You should be in the show. I've never acted before. I've done some things since. Danny A, Armand DeSante, all that stuff. But my first acting opportunity came with William. Now, I have to tell you this, William, that my boss upstairs, who you've met, he was in the movie Marty Supreme. That was a very, very big deal. That movie should have won an Academy Award. It was nominated for nine, or maybe 7. It went 0 for 7. And he did a really good job. A couple of scenes playing opposite Timothy Chalamet. So now Katsimatidis has the acting bug, But it all started with you, and Season 2 was a blast. I remember that first day, like yesterday, walking into the trailer, brisk Miami morning, and Chris was in there, and Andrew Dice Clay was the door next to me. I said, this can't be really happening, and it did. And we shot some great scenes, and the whole season was great. I was in 6 episodes, and then you called me back to do Season 3. And the first day I showed up on the set of that one, I'm staring at a guy who I watched play on the court in the NBA Finals for the Los Angeles Lakers by the name of Shaquille O'Neal. Now I'm shooting scenes with Shaq. And that's what we're looking forward to. So every week I get asked, well, I'm told every day, of course, how great the radio show is, when is Season 3 coming out for Gravesend? Every week, just so you know. So now we're going to find out. Here he is, the star writer, director, producer, does a tremendous job. He's a good guy. William DeMeo. Willie, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Thank you. Good morning. And you're a great guy yourself, Sid.
Thank
and
you.
well, you get asked at once a week. I get asked once a second almost about that. So we're definitely going to have it's a lot of episodes. That's what people don't realize is actually going to be minimum 12 episodes. And we're probably going to split the season. We're going to put the first 6 out right around September and then follow with the next 6 around Christmas. That's the announcement now that we're making. But through the summer, we're having showings in movie theaters. Awesome. You can catch the first 2 episodes and watch it with some of the cast members. Our first event is in Belmore in Long Island on June 10th, and then the second one is in Staten Island at the Atrium.
Oh, cool!
On June 24th.
Nice.
So we've been selling tickets. We're almost sold out for the first showing, and it'll be a great experience because it's like a movie in a way. It's like making 6 movies, and you get to see it on the big screen with people like yourself and other actors that are in the show. We had great new people that came on in season 3. We had you in it. I wish we could have had you a couple more. You're so busy now. You're so busy now. It's hard to get you. So
it's true. When I was sick one day, I was really sick, and that was the day I was supposed to beat somebody to death with a baseball bat, which I want to do in real life.
No,
I couldn't do it. But I'm probably 3 or 4 different episodes. I know the Russian scene with Tony Darrow, one with Shaq, the Staten Island scene. That's a big one.
Oh yeah,
that's a great one.
You're going to see that
and
if you come on. I hope you can make it on the 10th.
Of course,
we're going to show that episode. You're in that episode.
Oh, that's the one with the scene at Aunt Butchie's.
Yeah, with Anthony Rodilla, who by the way did a great job.
He was unbelievable.
Anthony Rodilla is amazing.
I had no idea that kid was that good. He really was outstanding.
Did a great job.
But you had this season. You added Adrian.
Yes,
Talia Shire.
Talia Shire, who's iconic, amazing to have her, and Vince Cortola, who played Johnny Sack in The Sopranos.
Right.
He's a great addition.
The head of the New York crime family. Right.
Yes, yeah.
Tony ran the New Jersey crime family, and
Vince is a great actor.
And a big Republican. Vince loves President Trump. He's been on this show before, believe it or not, talking politics. And he's not shy about it. He doesn't care if it hurts. Yeah. He's like, I love Trump. I love America. You don't like it? Go F yourself. Johnny Sacks.
He's a great actor too, and a great guy. And Shaq. I mean, Shaq has been such a great addition to this cast. I mean, when we're shooting in the street, there's thousands of people that come for him. I've never seen anything.
No.
He is like. I've never seen anything like it, how many people love this man everywhere we go.
Huge.
From kids from 13 to people 80 years old, everybody knows him, and he is one of the greatest people I've ever met. It's so supportive of everything.
And he can act.
Yes, he did great.
He could actually act. It's one thing, he's one of the most popular men in the world. There's no question about that. The NBA right now has huge international exposure. People still say that Michael Jordan is the most famous person in the world. He played in the NBA. LeBron James walks the street in China. He's going to get mobbed. Shaq is one of those guys. And like you said, he can also act. Is he coming on June 10th?
Possibly. He's going to be at some of these screenings. We don't know which ones yet. His schedule is pretty crazy, but he plays a great role. He plays Mustafa, who runs Bed-Stuy, and our worlds collide. We get together, and it's great to have him. The music, the cars, everything about it. And people again say, like, why is it taking so long? It's like making 6 movies. It's hard to make one independent movie. We have so much content, and I'm very proud of what we've accomplished with Michelle as our producer, and just great. Everybody. From the cast, from you to every single person that's in the cast. We have such a great. It's like a family, the Gravesend family.
I always tell people that Brooklyn is the greatest place in the world. I never forgot that. I live in Queens now, right on the beach, and it's actually very nice. But I go to Brooklyn often. I go to Michael's restaurant on Nostrand and I love Michael and Freddie a lot. I go to Gourmet Grill. My good buddy listening right now. His place is terrific too. So I'm in Johnny DeSanti. So I'm in Brooklyn quite a bit. And I've lived all over. Manhattan, the Bronx. I've lived in every borough except for Staten Island, believe it or not. And I lived in Florida for a long time, in lovely Boca Raton. There's no place like Brooklyn. When you start to line up the great people in any industry, acting, sports, politics, education, Brooklyn rules the roost by a distance. And I love the folks that remain loyal to Brooklyn. And I don't think I know anybody that has remained more loyal to Brooklyn than you. I see you do videos on your stoop in Gravesend on West. I'm not going to give the whole address, but West 10th Street. I go, this kid, he really loves Brooklyn. I love that about you.
Thank you. And you're a big supporter yourself. And I always say you should never forget where you come from. And sometimes when people, that's what I love about Shaq, because he never forgot where he came from either. He does a lot for his community in Newark and stuff like that. But growing up in Brooklyn, it was just, the way we grew up was so unique and everything about it. And the support I get from everybody there, how could you, like I say in the show, I felt like it's the center of the universe.
It is.
You know,
It is.
and you're right. We could go down the list. I mean, even Michael Jordan was born in Brooklyn.
He was.
Adam Sandler was born in Brooklyn.
Yes,
we
he
could
was.
keep going.
No, the
Eddie
list-
Murphy was born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We could keep going.
Yeah.
The owner of Starbucks, the guy that created Starbucks, is from Brooklyn.
Howard Schultz. No, you're
Yeah.
right. The list is incredible. And again, I still love it there. Like I said, I mean, some of the areas, it's sad. It's sad. Bay Ridge is not the same when I was a kid going to Poly Prep. Bensonhurst is not the same. Even Mill Basin, which is still lovely, that's taken a hit. I live in Queens. I'm okay on the other side of the Marine Park Bridge off of Flatbush Avenue. And I lived on Kings Highway, East 22nd and Quentin by Madison High School most of my life, and that's not the same. So I still love it, and I love that you love it, and I'm glad that I'm only 10 minutes away. But you'd have to admit, a lot of our neighborhoods don't look the same, Willie.
Oh, absolutely. No, things have definitely changed, but we still got the great places. We even got Vernon and Carl, like, you know, our friend Mikey Sullivan. He loves you, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have all these places.
Yeah.
We still got Crispy Pizza. We still got L&B Spumoni Gardens.
Yeah.
We still got the Farrahs. We still got a lot. I mean, they're still there, right? These places are still holding their own, you know.
These are all great places. Bay Ridge is loaded with great places.
Yeah, and you know, look, Coney Island changed, but Coney Island is still Coney Island.
No,
when you walk and you look at the Cyclone and you
It's getting
see
better. It's getting better. I don't know if you know this, but my boss upstairs, again, you've met John Katzmatidis. If you ever on the water side, like I take a ferry home every day, you'll see these, Willie, these two big white glass buildings. They're brand new. They're gorgeous. He owns them. It's called Ocean Drive. He's about, 10 blocks away from the Brooklyn Cyclone Stadium. So, you know, you still have Gargiulo's and Chris's, Louis, I should say, is fantastic. I love him. I was there just 2 weeks ago. And you still have Nathan's and the amusement park, and they are spending more money. So I think Coney Island is actually on the rebound. Some of these spots are getting better. It needs more work. The problem is the guy that you voted for mayor, he's the wrong guy, Willie. You made the bad choice there.
I didn't vote for him.
I'm kidding. You thought about it, you're like, oh, damn, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I mean, that's a rough guy to be the mayor of New York,
No,
right?
of course.
Is he coming to any of the screenings? I would hope
I
not.
don't think so. That's all I'll say.
I don't think he stands for any of the Brooklyn values. What's the most fun about going home and doing this show for you? Because this is all you. You came up with this. You raised the money for this. You're the lead actor. You write it. You're a great writer. What's the most fun for you?
Thank you. The most fun is when we're actually shooting and people come out to see it, and like the kids are on set and stuff like that, and they get to experience something that they're going to remember it for the rest of their lives,
Including my son.
Yes, all these kids.
He was in the July 4th scene at the end of season 2. Me, him, and Bo Dietl. Gabriel is a little boy now. He's going to college next year. He loved that.
Yeah, well, that's
you
the
set
thing.
the whole block on fire with fireworks.
Yeah, that's the thing that I love about is being able to give people that experience. It makes me smile, and like I said again, I'm so proud of, like, you bring up the 4th of July, what it was like just for me to see that on the screen.
Amazing,
because you know what it was like. I mean, if you know, you know, and I got to tell you.
Do you remember how that episode started? The final episode of the season was a July 4th celebration, fireworks, barbecue. Remember how it started?
Yeah, me and you were walking. That's right. We had that conversation.
We had a little conversation, and I was home, and I said, you can't get this in Miami. No way. And I moved over to the table, and there was Bo Dietl and Chuck Zito and a whole bunch of other fine actors on the program, Chris and Peter Gaudio, all of them. And then the action took place, and the fireworks and all that great stuff, which is so Brooklyn, right? I mean, July 4th, Coney Island, fireworks, that's Brooklyn. Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is I just want it to be as authentic as it could be. And that's why, if people want to come out and get tickets now to get a chance to meet some of the actors and get a chance to see it's worth it, because you're going to get a chance to see the first 2 episodes. And I think, my opinion, humbly speaking, once this gets out, these 2 episodes, and people, it's going to spread like wildfire. I know what we have.
I haven't seen it, so I'm very excited.
I know what we have.
I know.
So, and I'm very proud of it. I worked very hard for it.
The last 2 episodes were great. Folks, also Chaz Palminteri and Big Pussy Vinny. He's in these episodes too.
Vinny Pastore.
He's terrific. I mean, there's so many great actors. I'd be
Chuck Zito. We have Tony Darrow. We got such a great cast. All these guys that are legends that we've seen in all the biggest movies, from Goodfellas. We have
to Rocky.
Yeah,
Adrian.
Yeah, she was
and Godfather.
Else. Yeah,
pretty good job in that too. They're all in your TV show. What do we know yet where it's going to air? It's been Amazon Prime the first 2 years.
It's probably going to be that and one other place that we're working on right now to get, And speaking, I just want to get back. That Knicks game last night was insane.
You
I
were
was
there.
It was unbelievable.
I saw
bro.
the videos.
Down 22 points.
Yeah.
And then
were you like sitting by the court?
I was like the fifth row. It was insane. The Garden was jumping, bro. And let me tell you, Brunson,
he's something else.
That guy, bro.
Yeah.
He just took I was like, every time he came down, boom, boom,
You know what that means, don't you?
We were going
nuts.
bananas.
You know what that means, Brunson? It's got to be in season 4. You got to figure it out.
That would be nice. That would be nice. I'm going to tell Shaq to make a move over there, talk to him.
I think everybody wants to be in this show. That's how you know you're doing a good job. If Shaq went to Brunson and said, hey, we're doing a mob show in Brooklyn, he would love it. He would do it in 2 seconds.
You know what? That's a good idea, bro. Now we got to reach out to Brunson.
Assistant Coach Rick Brunson. Well, we got to run, but one more time, let the folks know where they can get tickets. I'll be there June 10th and all that.
Yes, Eventbrite. You could get him on Eventbrite. Look on our social media, Gravesend series. We'd love to see you. There's going to be a bunch of them, but try and get to the first 2. Belmore Movie Theater in Long Island, and then the Atrium in Staten Island on June 24th. June 10th is Belmore, Long Island. We'd love to see you guys. Thank you, every one of you. I just want to say, all you guys, when I see you on the street, I appreciate the love and support. Everywhere I go, people keep asking me about it. Thank you all. And thank you, Sid, for having me back. I love you, buddy.
I love you, too. You really are a sweet, sweet guy. You're a great guy. You're very talented. Very, very talented, but a really terrific guy.
Thank you, my friend.
What you get with Willie DeMeo is who he is. He's an authentic, lovely guy. Even Steve Martorano loves him. Cuz.
Yo, cuz.
Yo, cuz. He's in this season, too. Lou, I think we're done for today, right? That's it. As always, you guys were tremendous. Lou Ruffino, excellent job. Happy birthday to Cher. She's 80 today. And we missed Joe Cocker. He's 82 today. Excellent job all week, Kevin Drost. Justin Ellick is back tomorrow. You're back to program director, but you did really well. Thank you. You worked hard. I appreciate it. Noam Layden, great job. We'll all be back, as Gene would say, God willing, for a 6 a.m. Bill O'Reilly Thursday show tomorrow. Until then, from all of us on Sid and Friends in the Morning, including Michelle and Willie DeMeo from Gravesend, to all of you in New York City, peace!
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?